Hello, everyone! Welcome to another episode of Top Podcast. My name is Larry.
Lawrence.
Lino.
Sam.
And this is that Top Podcast where we talk One Piece and anime. Woo! What up, y'all?
You're getting better at that, man.
I am getting used to it. Yeah. I mean, it's only been 3 years. I've been saying the same thing non-stop. It's like, yo, you do crack for 3 years, and it's like, yo, you want me to just stop?
Crack?
Give me more crack.
That's the analogy?
Yeah, seriously, why don't you go
See, y'all
there?
never did crack before.
You've never. I would hope you never.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
For those that do not know, I have never done crack. Alright? I'm just using it as an analogy. Anyway. What up, y'all? Episode 209 in the books right now. We are going to be discussing One Piece chapter 1152. And what a damn chapter it was. It is so filled with so much information. If this is your first time here, welcome. I hope you have a great time. I hope you enjoy our humor. Don't take nothing too serious. If we say something out of pocket, Sebastian's been on a roll. Lawrence came in with hot fire. So I don't know what's going on, but Lionel's here today. Without Lionel, you know what I'm saying? We got Lionel in the building.
Lionel in the building.
For real, bro. He took like a 4-month break. We almost put him on, like on a wanted poster, bro. Have you seen my dog?
Like, have you seen my dog? Dog spelled with a W.
Yeah. And he just barking. Like in the picture. Nah, that was funny.
That's
all
wild.
right. Anyway, yeah, that was wild. What would a Von Cobb do? That's the question.
Yo, listen.
You know
Big Mom is winning the poll. I think y'all tripping, yo.
All right.
Whatever.
Sebastian doesn't understand what a true threat is, bro.
Yo, Ivankov's strong and they can change you.
You scared he gonna...
Yeah, I'm very scared. I'm very scared.
He gonna clutch you with his thighs?
He's not strong.
Nah, bro.
Yeah, your
Nah,
hockey's
bro.
weak,
Nah, bro.
If you allow his will to be inside you,
I'm fine.
then that's crazy.
I'm fine dealing with Abuelas, bro. But what Ivankov got going is different.
Anyway,
different.
Listen, if you're new to the channel, please like the stream if you haven't already. If you're on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, hit that thumbs up, give us 5 stars, and leave a nice comment. Also, if you haven't gone to those sites yet, I think you should. It's the same type of quality you get here. It goes on video. You can watch us as well if you're on Spotify. To all the super chatters, thank you so much for super chatting. You guys are seriously the best. We are a podcast, so I need to remind you that sometimes when we're caught in conversation, we're not always going to be able to just read your super chat immediately. Sometimes it'll be 5 minutes, sometimes it'll be 20 minutes, and if Sebastian is wilding out and Lionel and Lawrence are arguing with each other, you're just going to have to sit through it, bro. You're just not going to get yours read for a little bit. So just give us a little bit of time, but best believe we will read it, okay? So thank you so much to all of our friends and all of our Nakama watching at home. But with that being said, Seb, let's say what's up to chat. Let's read some super chats, and then we will get to the chapter.
All right, yeah. I see Girthquake, Kirby, Sophia, Ice Fisher, Tenacity, T-Dog 1123, Austin Hart, Twilight Straw Hat, Lethal, Nice Guy Eddie, Redhead Shankdom, Deku Mighty, Zoro D Joy Boy, End Might, Teabag, Tay91, Maximilian Turner, MM, Endermite, Yops, Monkey DJ, Darius Arnett, Fremos, Mr. Prince, Shonen Showdown is in here. What's up, Rob? Antonio Freeman, Toji, The Finesser, Stoic Wolf, Ricardo, Trafalgar D Jenny, Mad Monk Foodie, Monkey D Jiraiya, Ultra Mix, Courtney Marie, P, Wise Life Jody, Brandon Wigfall, just so many of y'all in here, man. Please like the stream if you haven't already. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. We got another Nakama join the crew with King Ray 2546. Welcome to and enjoy all the emojis that come with being a Nakama. We have another $5 from Angel Rodriguez. Would a Kamehameha from Master Roshi stalemate or push through the combined Ikoku sovereignty from Big Mom and Kaido?
It would push way past them, bro.
Master Roshi's Kamehameha?
Yes.
He did destroy Moon, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Weak ass Moon. But I feel you. I'm not mad at that answer. I'm not.
I was. Then I'm like,
I'm mad at the answer.
I don't know.
Because is Ikoku sovereignty destroying a moon in the Dragon Ball Z universe? Probably not. I feel like the correct answer is no.
Is Blackbeard?
Wait.
No, because he had his whole thing that Ikoku sovereignty would be stopped by Blackbeard. Is Blackbeard stopping a Kamehameha that can
Blackbeard a black
destroy?
hole, bruh.
Can we?
Black hole sucking moons all the
we
time.
got Sebastian's answer.
Black hole sucking moons all the time.
Wait, can we agree that all right, that can you guys believe that moon destroying one that he did is probably Master Roshi's strongest attack?
It don't matter. The question is, can that do it?
No, yeah, okay. So is it just any Kamehameha wave or is it that Kamehameha wave?
That one.
Okay, all right. Because to me, I'm like any old Kamehameha wave from Master Roshi's not doing it. If it's gonna be his strongest, the one that destroyed the moon, then yeah. But if he's like in regular form, all thinned up, and there's a Kamehameha wave, to me that's not blowing past the sovereignty.
Even then, that would blow past it, bro.
In when he's all not brawling?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think that the strength is that much different.
I have to do the research, though.
There's no research to be done.
I can't
I'm
just say
gonna pull
that.
up.
To me, it's kind of wild.
Bro, if Master Roshi got a power up in order to destroy the moon, even when he's just regular form, he could destroy half of it. It don't matter. Like, Ikoku sovereignty's not doing that. Y'all is so disrespectful, bro. I don't know if it's ignorance or y'all just want to be disrespectful.
Listen, I'm gonna put the poll up, bro. I feel like Roshi's probably gonna win this.
Oh, 100% he is.
He's probably gonna win
I think that's mostly biased, though.
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's not bias. It's just logic.
Huh?
When did a moon
Vote
not
up.
just be like
Vote
some
up.
amazing feat? Like, when did blowing up a moon did not become an amazing feat? Like, please tell me, bro.
Honestly, it's Dragon Ball Z's fault, bro. They started blowing up moons too early.
No. It's not that.
I'm serious.
No.
Yo, y'all gonna think I'm an
about?
idiot? Yo, there's a thing called power creep saturation.
Don't care.
It's like, yo, if you blew the moon
Oh
up
my god.
in episode 50 or whatever,
You guys are gonna give me an answer.
No,
like what I see in episode 500 is like supposed to be something crazy.
Oh my god.
See,
But it's
the reason why also too, maybe this is whatever, but it's like I feel like in Dragon Ball Z stuff, like for example, in One Piece we see like Sebastian always bring a weak moon or whatever. I feel like stuff is more durable in One Piece than in Dragon Ball Z. I feel like everything gets destroyed off the littlest thing, right? Like for example, One Punch Man, right? In One Punch Man, right, we saw this dude got hit to the moon, landed on it, and then just jumped off the moon back to the earth and cracked the moon off doing that. That is so ridiculous, but that's happened in One Punch Man.
But that's One Punch Man, Lawrence.
The thing is,
like you've read Saitama versus Garu. You know what Saitama can do.
Yeah, I know.
Okay,
I know.
but alright, we're talking about Krillin was a human. When they were fighting the Red Ribbon Army, right?
Mm-hmm.
During certain parts, him and Goku, you remember the girl that sneezes, I forgot her name. Her hair changes from blue to blonde.
Launch.
Alright, Launch.
yeah.
She shot Master Roshi and Krillin with a semi-automatic. And they didn't die from those bullets. Alright?
Yeah.
Alright, those are the weakest forms of those characters ever. Meanwhile, those characters also could blow up a moon. Y'all tripping.
No,
Y'all
that's
tripping,
another
bro.
point because like
Yo, y'all
those
tripping,
animatics
bro.
hitting One Piece characters, they would have got taken out.
You're tripping,
What
bro.
Not all
we
One
can't
Piece
spend too much
characters.
time on this. It's crazy.
You the one crashing.
We gonna look bad, bro.
You the one crashing.
Yo,
bro.
we
We see
look
One Piece
bad,
characters
bro.
get shot all the time and not pass from it.
Yeah, bro.
Like we seen people get tortured, go through the crazy amount of torture, and it's nothing to them.
This is why we don't cross verse like
Like you talking about the weakest spring we seen Zoro. We seen Zoro take a buggy ball while he was sleeping that leveled and destroyed the entire village. He was sleeping and ate that,
Yo,
no
bro,
scratches on him.
We don't got time, bro.
I'm just saying,
All
like if you
four
want to
of us-
compare that,
all four of us is here, and it's a heavy chance.
destructive damage from that buggy ball is bigger than
you
those
still
bullets that
crash.
Launch was shooting at.
You still crash.
Y'all need to rewatch Dragon Ball. That's
Anyway.
all it says.
All right. We got another 5 from King Ray 2546. It says your boy bought a house and is getting married this August. Been busy as hell getting everything done, but glad I found the time to catch a live. Hashtag TOPT.
Congrats.
Hey, congratulations, man.
Congrats,
Truly,
bro.
those are major milestones.
Yeah.
and-
Now throw a freak off.
all right.
Bruh.
Come on, bro.
man.
You gotta do it.
Well,
time.
we're glad you found the one, King Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Or the third. You know how it be
Yo.
out here.
Okay.
You can't send a sentimental super chat. Like,
You know how it be,
crazy,
bro.
bro.
Sometimes it's not always the first one, you know what I'm saying?
Another 10 from Kirby. It says, if there was a random poll in the One Piece universe where people were asked who is the current king of the pirates, which Yonko do you think they would largely vote for? Or would they glaze Roger? Hashtag Top Boys. The Roger glaze is definitely going to be there.
Yeah.
I'm going to be real with you. He's just the most famous pirate. There'll be people who said Whitebeard even though he's dead. I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like they glazed that era pretty hard. And if you're talking about the random people of One Piece, like, you have to use the East Blue Straw Hats as like a benchmark for how famous the other pirates are. Nami ain't really know who Shanks was. And Nami's like a relatively, like, I know things kind of person. She ain't no Shanks.
It's gonna be buggy. Let's keep going.
I guess, man. But yeah. Another 20 from Girthquake. Here's 4 steps to permanently blacken your shades. 1. You must spend 10 years only hitting lower back at the gym. 2.
10 years.
Break the unbreakable car windshield. 3. Have touching thighs. And 4. Eliminate 1 billion animals. Good luck to all.
The reason why most animal species went extinct is because Lars kept hunting them down.
Bro.
I want to know where the lower back thing came from. Because, like, out of all those ones, it was like, I guess, like a inside joke, whatever. But that lower back thing is crazy. 10 years?
Bro.
Lower back, bro.
Every guy twerks at one point in his life. Whether he wants to admit it or not. Depends on the position.
I'm about to say.
I'm saying.
I was about to say, bro.
It's a worldly joke.
It is.
All right.
Another 17 months at Yonko status from our boy Roy Stokes. It says 17 months with the GOATs. You guys are the best part of every Monday. Much love to all the Nakama. Hashtag
thank you.
like the stream.
Our boy Roy.
Hashtag bang bang buggy gang. And Roy also donated 50 gifted memberships.
50 gifted memberships?
50.
Wow.
Yo, Roy, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Just throw money at my face, bro. Like, what are you
That's
doing?
That's a little weird.
Yeah, that was crazy.
That's a little
That was
weird.
very Ivanka.
Oh, man. But thank you so much.
Yes,
for
everybody, W's in the chat for our boy.
Thank you.
Please, W's in the chat, say thank you to Roy. He spends a great deal on the channel. He supports us heavily, and also he's giving you some free subs to use some emojis. So please, use those emojis for Roy real quick.
Yeah. Another 5 from Ultramix. It says, another L for Sanji. Shanks on Fraud Watch. Mihawk upscale. Zoro about to be top 1. Sounds like a 10 out of 10 chapter to me. We'll talk about it.
Sounds like a lot of nonsense.
Yeah,
Talk about
some of
it.
that didn't even make any sense
Wait,
to
we
me.
had a big one, right? Pause.
We did. We got a 50 from our guy.
Hey,
Shonen Showdown.
Showdown.
A.K.A. Rob, man, from the Shonen Syndicate. It says,
Our boy.
yo, what's good, my goats? Can't wait to hear your thoughts on Shanks and Loki stuff. P.S. Yo, Larry. So now that you know I was right about the regen needing a higher level of hockey to be stopped, the Gorosei are still weak or question marks with the crying emoji. Hashtag TOPT tags. Thank you, Shonen. If y'all haven't already, please go follow and subscribe. Shonen Showdown. He has fire content.
Yes. They're still weak. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand, bro. All you really need is a Conqueror's hockey user and to be like, all right, I know how to use my Conqueror's hockey in my attacks. All of a sudden, they get dropped. Like, immediately. Now, granted, it takes Conqueror's hockey, and there's not many of them in the verse, but it's been shown that, like, you're really not top tier without the regen. And the regen might be taken away if you take Emu away. So if the Gorosei are left without Emu's regeneration capabilities that he gives to others, then where do they truly place? And that's been my like you borrowing your steez from somebody else. You like, yo, that's my captain, yo. So that make me strong. But like he actually giving me powers. Like just take Emu out then. Emu goes out. Where the Gorosei standing at? Where the Holy Knights standing at? Holy Knights drop down to second commander level. I don't know if y'all really noticed that, bro. They really do. Like they drop down immediately. Like Kid would be able to beat them. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I think we have to see more about their powers before we can say that.
But no, I
But
agree
I
with
kinda
everything
agree
Larry
with it.
said. The Kid part, I don't know. 'Cause we haven't, like Larry said, we haven't seen them without Imu's helping hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and to me, that's been my same note for everything. If you are relying on a power that's not yours, to me, like Larry, I question your strength. And the Knights too. It's heavily because we see them lend themselves to get attacked, right? All right, how well are you good at defending? You know, so it's like, all right, if you didn't have the Eam's ability to regenerate you, yeah, you let yourself get hit, but would you normally be able to block this? Would you normally be able to dodge this? Right? Can you defend yourself? Can you actually bang with the best? You know? So it's like if you can't do that, but you just have this regenerative, that doesn't make you strong. It makes you what? I was about to say something mad disrespectful, but you know, it makes you just a pawn in Imu's plan.
You're just not that strong, bro.
Yeah,
you're really not.
I feel like in the grand scheme of like the top tiers, I would agree, but like I wouldn't call them weak. I feel like weak is a stretch.
I will say I don't believe all the Knights will be like that. I think there's going to be some that's going to stand out amongst them.
Katakuri beats all of them, except probably not the Gorosei. But he beats all the Holy Knights.
I believe Shamrock is a different one.
You're saying
Don Chinjao could beat them.
I need to quantify what you're saying. You're saying that they would beat them now?
Yeah.
Or they would need, once they bypass the immortality or whatever.
They are capable of infusing their attacks with Conqueror's Haki. Therefore, they can't beat them.
I don't think what I've seen from Cat would tell me that what he's doing with his Conqueror's Haki is enough to take out a...
One, he has observation Haki. That's so crazy, right? And two, the fact that he could just infuse his attacks with Conqueror's Haki and he's aware of it, he'd be able to pummel them. Like, you don't look at it, but like, Gabon literally one-shot Sommers.
He did.
Like,
That's Gabon, though.
Yo.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the left wing of the Pirate King.
All right, that's cool. But what I'm saying is Katakuri's most likely in his prime, and his fight after Luffy, he's most likely stronger. So he has all the capabilities in order to slow a Holy Knight down.
And Sebastian, you're also forgetting that Katakuri's adaptability. Like, we see him keeping adapting to Luffy's fights. Like, Katakuri's fighting intelligence show that it's either on par or even better than Luffy.
But y'all acting as though he's like conquered coding consistently with his attacks. Like, he's not doing that.
I don't want to say what Gabon said because we kind of know the answer to it already. But like the fact that Katakuri already said that there's levels to Haki. Katakuri understands that. He knows that for a fact. Because now you're adding his intelligence through fighting. And he has future sight. So he could conclude and deduce, this is how you beat them. Then now he just has to adapt his fighting style to that type of Haki. That's all you have to do.
Which he did to Luffy.
Exactly.
And it's not too far to say, and you could say this, I'm speculating, but if Luffy learned it dumb quick that fast just from experiencing it from Kaido, right? Luffy learned it mid-fight. To me, it's hard to believe that Cat can't do the same.
And low-key, Law can most likely beat them too.
It's a lot
with the way his ability works.
It's a lot of gas.
Like, Law could literally slice off somebody's leg, transport it with somebody that's like on the other side of the island. And now your leg can't be regenerated because it happens to be somewhere else and it's not technically off.
And if you want to argue, all right, Luffy experienced it through, for example, through Kaido because Kaido hit him with it, but then you also have Zoro. You know, he didn't learn it the same way Luffy did, but he started doing the same things that Luffy was doing. He started adding his attack without really experiencing it the way Luffy did. But he kind of came to understand this is how I have to fight. So Cat's kind of is smarter than both of them, especially when you just read the chapter. That was a little kind of stupid to me, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, but Cat, like I'm saying, Cat's smarter than both of them. If they both learned it that fast in a fight, why can't Cat, who's smarter than both of them?
So technically, anybody with Conqueror's Haki could just beat them.
It's not true. They have to be able to infuse the Conqueror's Haki.
For sure.
For sure. Like, Kid has Conqueror's Haki.
He's not infusing. No, but we're speaking on the fact that they would be infusing. Yeah. And if they are, they will be.
Yeah. So, but here's my problem with what we're saying. We're basically saying these characters that we're inserting need a buff to their existing kid.
It's not a buff.
In order for them to be able to do what you're saying. You get what I'm saying?
It's not a buff.
It is a buff. Danchinjao, you said Danchinjao, he can't do that.
Yes, he did. Him and Luffy clashed on Dressrosa. Conqueror's Haki was leaking out to the crowd. It showed it. Same thing with Doflamingo.
Dofi and Danchinjao aren't infusing their attacks with Conqueror's Haki, at least not knowingly. They're not, at least Danchinjao isn't anymore. But like the attack that Luffy landed when they clashed, that's not coded with Conquerors. That's not what's happening there. That's just two Conquerors that are clashing with each other. You get what I'm saying?
But the hockey is still being used.
You're saying the fact that it emitted to knocking people out or showing evidence of it being emitted. So if you just kind of like sync the two more, it's like, all right, I admitted my conquerors while doing an armament attack that one. What if I just narrow it down and combine them into my arm?
The point is, it's like, so Lawrence already said it. Some people just use hockey unconsciously, right? That sometimes leaks out even if they don't know how to use it. One, right? And then there's levels to Conqueror's hockey. And it starts with the punch clash between Don Chinjiao and Luffy, where Conqueror's hockey was in play to the point everybody was getting knocked out. Same thing happened with Doflamingo and Luffy. That's just like base level armament in a way, you know? Like that's the same level of base level armament where like hockey hardening is not being shown, but it is being used because I can grab you, right? The same thing it is with Conqueror's hockey, where it's not being shown to be coding your attack, but it is at the base level where it is taking effect on everything around you. So it is being used to a degree.
Okay. So, and I don't want to linger on this for too long. I feel like everything y'all are saying is valid to some degree with the Holy Knights. Rob's question was about the Gorosei more specifically. And we do have more legitimate feats of hockey from them beyond just the immortality gimmick.
We were just talking about the Holy Knights, though. But if it comes to the Gorosei is a different story then.
That's what I'm saying.
You actually need to have what Luffy has and Gabon has and everybody else has. Yeah.
But
then again, all you need is a strong enough Conqueror's hockey blast, such as like Shanks or Joy Boy, and all of a sudden they're reverted out of their these forms and they turn back into humans.
Y'all minimize this to like all you need. There's 2 characters. Well, like the number of characters that can do that is like in your hand, bro. Like it's the top tiers.
Yeah.
The people we've been naming aren't capable of this.
But
you know what I'm saying?
So we're saying what we need to do to bypass the regeneration ability. Mm-hmm. But once Emu's gone and they have to fend for themselves, they're considerably weaker. Mm-hmm. Considerably.
That remains to be seen still. I'm here with you. Like we'll get to it, but I'm just saying, man, like
people like giving people feats, and you know Rob, bro.
Listen, bro.
He thinks Sabo has a feat, but he was really using his feet. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, you know Rob, man. Love Rob,
I understand you, bro. I get you, bro. I get you. Let's I guess get to the chapter.
Yeah, let's get to the chapter. Thank you, guys. Listen, we are going to be going back to the super chats, so please stick around for that. We're gonna read them off. All right. All right.
Like the stream.
Like the stream.
Almost 600 views and only 170 something likes. So hit that like button.
I didn't even let anybody know that we were going live. All right. Anyway,
they should know.
Today's chapter is titled "A Horrible Day." We return to Yamato's pilgrimage in the cover story, where the caption reads, Otama's Amigasa hat delivered to Kawamatsu, daimyo of Hakumai. In the panel, after Yamato defeats Sukune in a sumo match, Ulti hands Kawamatsu his new Amagasa hat. Yamato pats him on the back as he gratefully discards his old one. So, with Lionel being here for the first time in a minute, what's your thoughts on this cover story, brother?
I don't really have much. Because I thought the whole Ace thing with oars, but like I even went back to see if he lost his hat, because I know he always wears a hat like since he was like little.
Yeah.
And like I thought maybe he like lost it or it got heavily damaged in the Kaido battle. From seeing it didn't get that much of it. It would look raggedy, so like getting a new one just showing you're appreciative and Tomo's doing it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't really have anything because he's actually wearing his old hat after the battle of Kaido and Big Mom's done.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking like they just gave him a new hat just to give him a new hat, and I'm thinking I don't have anything, honestly. I don't.
All right.
So
Law?
it.
No, I don't really have anything at all. It's just like I don't know what to say this way. I kind of even like this objective. Oh, apparently this was objective during the hat. I don't even remember this being part of the objective in the part of the cover story.
Yeah.
Like where are we at right now? So it's like I'm so out of tune with what's going on here. It's just I just kind of.
It was from chapter 1148's cover story. So Otama gave Yamato the Amigasa hat to give to Kawamatsu. Mm-hmm. So from there, that's where Yamato's pilgrimage was supposed to go.
Yeah.
So she's basically a GTA character. Like she's just doing missions. Yeah, she's just doing missions.
See, and I can. That's cool because Wano was dope. But to me, it's like, why? If this doesn't lead to anything, why are you making this a cover story Oda? Because it's like we could have done without all this information. None of this really impacted us or gave us any new information. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, why this a cover story? Because to me, you're adding stuff like, for example, you could say we're spoiled by the Enel thing because we learned so much from there and the theories or whatever. Then it's like, this is like, what's the point of this? Like, where does this lead to? Because all we got is, Yamato ran some missions and end up saving Uti and Page One and returned the sword in a hat. Or he gave someone a hat. Mm-hmm. Sums it up. Like, kind of like, and maybe the Daimo's there, but.
The only thing is, like, it only clarifies if we get more story or, like, either later on in the story of the One Piece. Mm-hmm. We just see Uti and Page One chilling with Yamato and they're cool. You're like, when did this happen? Like, with this cover story, you're like, yo, what the heck? When you start asking questions, like, why? But that's the only clarification. But I know it's not enough. We need more than just what's going on, but hopefully we get it. But that, like, we would all question why are UT and Page One.
I would have liked it better if you just had Momo and Yamato kind of just like training, and you see him using his blade, trying to master it, fighting Yamato, and they're training that way. She's trying to show him how to use Haki or something. At least some of the productive. At least this is like nothing to me. I've learned nothing through really any of this like here. You know, I want to know why did Oda make this part of the story? Like this whole thing. I don't know.
All right. So
Skip, we wasted mad time. There's a lot to talk about.
Y'all was yapping.
And y'all yapping about
y'all know there's nothing interesting. Bro.
It's over.
Yeah.
Skip, I'm serious.
All right. Should we do some super chats and then?
Sure.
All right. Let's do three. Let's do 3 super chats and then we'll go back to this chapter.
It's funny, in one of my theories, I actually have something on Yamato, but we'll talk about it. Another 2 from Sean Fox. It says, never caught a live before. Appreciate you, boys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hope you stick around.
Thank you.
Another 31 months at Nakama Status from Mr. Prince. It says, after this chat, I cannot wait for next week's. Yo.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, for real. Mm-hmm. Another 5 from Jada Rude. It says, is it me or did Oda put his foot in the artwork in this issue?
Yeah, you've been killing it,
he's been killing it.
All right, let's go back to the chat.
All right, let's get it.
All right, so there's a lot happening in this chapter once again. So if I'm talking a lot or any of us are talking a lot, we apologize. All right. So the chapter opens up with Imu's Haki surging from the Sun World into the Underworld. The new giant warriors are ordered to head to the lift, but Gerd is told to stay behind with the Fool. Chopper informs Luffy he'll stay behind as well to treat Gaban. He can't be moved. Luffy thanks him. As Gaban begins to speak, he warns Luffy to be mindful of how he uses his Conqueror's Haki. The enemies ahead aren't immortal. Luffy thanks him and reassures him he'll save everyone, especially Colin. Loki starts to lift himself, showing signs of recovery. He realizes that Gaban has helped him understand the true nature of his power, something he can now verbalize and has experienced himself. The Holy Knights can be stopped. Loki asks Haruden to remove his cuffs so he can help. Haruden hesitates. He's confused why Loki would suddenly fight for Elbaf and tells him he's not taking him anywhere. Gaban shifts slightly and looks at Zoro and Sanji. He remarks that it seems there's more than one person among them with Conqueror's Haki. Sanji excitedly runs up asking if Gaban means him. He's tired of Jinbei and Zoro hogging all the credit. But Gaban stares right past him and locks eyes with Zoro. Gaban comments on how naturally Zoro wields Conqueror's Haki. Zoro is shocked and questions if he really has it. Luffy spins around and yells at him for not knowing since it's constantly leaking out of him. Gaban is dumbfounded. He goes on to explain that Haki is only useful when consciously controlled. Then he scolds Zoro. How can he expect to support his captain, a Yonko, if he doesn't understand his own strength? Under pressure, Zoro apologizes. Sanji jumps back in, eager to know if he has it too. But before Gaban can answer, Loki cuts through the moment, calling Haruden pathetic. He can't believe Haruden would rely on outsiders to save Elbaf when he's still here. Sanji is left with an unreadable expression, either just told he has Conqueror's Haki or definitively doesn't. Haruden fires back, asking if Elbaf really does have Loki. From what he's seen, Loki betrayed Elbaf once by siding with the world government. What's to stop him from doing it again? How can he trust him? The new giant warriors urge Haruden to stop wasting time and move. At that moment, Luffy turns to Loki. He leaps onto him and casually invites him to join his crew. Then, looking at Haruden, Luffy says once Loki accepts, he should be free to go, right? Zoro and Sanji immediately protest. They don't want someone Loki's size on the Sunny. He'd never fit, not to mention the food required to feed him. But Luffy insists. He tells Loki that if Elbaf clearly doesn't want him, and he thinks it would be fun to have him aboard. If anyone has a problem with it, he'll beat them up. Loki, furious, demands to know why Luffy thinks he'd ever be his henchman. Haruden then questions if that's really Luffy's instinct. Luffy grins and says he just wants to see Loki fight. The new giant warrior pirates call out to Haruden, urging him to hurry. He yells back that he's coming. Haruden picks up Luffy and apologizes for Luffy's extended invitation to Loki, but stately affirms that Loki still must face judgment for his crimes. Suddenly, Gaban calls out, telling Haruden to unlock Loki's chains. Haruden is furious with the request. He begins listing Loki's crimes one by one, his anger boiling over, but Gaban stops him. He already knows every offense, but on the day of it all happening, he and Shanks felt something strange, an overwhelming, unnatural surge of haki from Oris Castle. They didn't witness everything that took place, but that moment left a mark. Haruden tells his crew to head to the lift while he stays behind to finally hear the truth. Zoro and Sanji go on ahead as well. Zoro mutters that Luffy's obsessed with Shanks. Luffy snaps at him for mocking Shanks, but Sanji chimes in clarifying, he's mocking you. Loki then calls out to Gaban, almost pleading for him not to continue, but Gaban insists. Haruden deserves to know the truth. They're brothers after all, even if their mothers are different. Haruden gives Gaban 3 minutes to explain everything about what happened 14 years ago with Loki and King Harald. Loki protests, saying it's a cruel request. Recalling that day brings him nothing but pain. He lays back down, placing his arm over his head. It was a horrible day, he says quietly. So, Law.
That was a lot.
Yeah, I thought you would break that up.
So I couldn't break it up because there's still so much in the
Yeah.
middle, and then there's more at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot.
You good.
Yeah. So you guys know where I stopped. Everybody knows where I stopped. This is the most intensely filled with information chapter in a very, very long time.
It's been a while.
So
Yeah.
I tried my best to break it
Nah,
down.
you good, man.
Yeah.
You
No,
good.
that was good.
Yeah.
Just all right. So one, because you cut to me first, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So one, I believe this is confirmation that we could say Gaban is a Conqueror's user.
Yeah.
Because I remember before I used to argue back with Lionel or whoever, and I noticed a trend in One Piece that only hockey users can sense when someone has it or is using hockey, right? And what I'm going by that is like I believe it's kind of the same with Conquerors, right? Because you only kind of get a sense, definitely, besides from someone getting knocked out, but to confirm that someone has the color Supreme King is usually by other Supreme King users, right? And also his statement too is that telling him, instructing him Luffy how to use it, and that they're not immortal, right? To me, that speaks from experience, right? As in, because we already saw him deal with, besides from like what we just saw earlier, him already go against Sommers, right? But they already knew each other from back then. And then you see that we still drew how Sommers still was growing back a limb. I'm not saying that the Gaban or everything actually took out some knights. Maybe they did. But the fact of saying that they're not immortal, there has to be proof of it, right? And saying that Conqueror's hockey is the key, right? And I know that you two kind of, Lionel and Larry, you two alluded to that heavily in the past before we even got this confirmation, right? So shout out to you guys, right? That
I have that in my notes too. Like,
Yeah.
Larry and Lionel
good
predicted
into this, right? Makes sense, right? So to me, it's like we believe that, but also now says to me that we also got confirmation that Loki is a Conqueror,
Yeah.
right? Based off how he responded to what Gaban said, and his response like, all right, I didn't realize this is the power, how to utilize it against them and to attack, whatever. So I thought that was dope. So now we finally got Saul, our first giant that uses hockey as an armament or whatever, hockey hardening. And then we get our first giant that's a Conqueror's user, right? Which is in Loki. Dope. The giants are actually stepping up. Pretty much.
They always been this, bro.
Always? There's two. There's a legit two, Lionel. You know? But that's dope. And I I can't wait this going on because I want to see Loki in action, which Luffy even said. I want to see him fight too. I want to see Loki use his haki, his conquerors, and of course his ability. So I can't wait for that. We'll see where it's gonna go with that, right? And and to me, Oda he's such a troll, and it shows to me how much he actually pays attention to his community, their thoughts, and what they're saying. Because we've seen this before about the whole everything we were saying bad about Kid, right? And how he had Law express that on Wano, right? And now the whole thing with Gabon and everything, we're seeing that Gabon's probably a conqueror or is a conqueror, and we're all questioning, does that mean Sanji is one, right? And then boom, even the way he has Gabon worded, seems like there's more than one of you. With the it didn't say like, oh, you too. Just he didn't narrow down Zoro.
I mean, you can't really say that, Lawrence.
I know.
Okay.
But to me, it's like how I read it. He didn't just narrow out. Yeah, he looked at him later on.
I got you,
he didn't just narrow down Zoro. Like, because even the wording said there's more than one of you.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, there's two of you.
Yeah.
You know, it's a definite number. Like, you and Luffy. That's two.
Yeah.
Right? Which is more than one of you. And then he's saying how Zoro is more easily, it's more evident, it's flowing out of him. Right? You know, and noting that, and then Sanji, I love that whole part too, because when Sanji's questioning too, and then that little panel where Loki's yelling, see, we don't hear, and no one else hears the response or answer that Gabon could be telling Sanji, right? Like, you don't even see Sanji's face. Like, you see him saying, is it me too? Do you sense it in me too? Because maybe Sanji hasn't fully awakened it yet or not. I don't know. I'm not in really favor of Sanji, however, or disfavor. I kind of just want to see what happens. I want it to make sense because I already have an idea how conquerors people are. You know, to me, I was like, I need more for Sanji for me to believe that he is one, right? But maybe it has to be more dormant. But we'll see. The fact that Oda kind of hid that from us because the first thing, no, I gotta talk to the people who have it or who are evidently showing it now, as in Luffy and Zoro.
Yeah.
Right, and then Sanji, Oda left us in the dark in that aspect because how he wrote the panels and then how Loki screaming in that way, right? But also, again, like I said earlier, this kind of annoyed me with Zoro, as in like, yo, you kind of stupid, bro. Because like, one, I thought I understood Zoro as in he didn't understand this about himself. He didn't realize that his ambition was great and that he was a king because of how he viewed himself, right? But I thought he got that clarification that he was in Wano. Kaido said that you were. You cut Kaido and everything, and then even Albert said that you were, and you started doing it against Albert.
Actually, no. Actually, I looked at it. I was going to say my piece. I want to wait, but that's actually not fully true.
It's not fully true.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we'll get to it too.
All right, maybe so.
Because if Lionel's going to say what I'm going to say, it's
Okay.
we know then. Yeah.
All right, but to me, I'll wait for you guys' response, but I guess I'll say my piece still, is that from the reason I thought, because like the way Zoro, Albert in that conversation said that you two aspire to be king, and then he also lets out this conqueror's person, knocking out people. Maybe Zoro didn't pay attention to who got knocked out because we don't know where they were. Maybe. If that's okay, right? But the thing is, his recognition is like, all right, if that's the case, I'll be a king as well. You know? To me, sure that you ever understand it, because to me, he didn't say it, but then you have Kaido legit just told you. You too have that. And Zoro's kind of still doubted then. He goes, what are you talking about? I just put everything into my attack. But Kaido sure responds, we don't need any more this world. Your generation's starting to become annoying because you have Luffy, you have Kid, you have Zoro. These conquerors keep popping up out of your generation. You know? And there's maybe more, I'm not sure. But, you know what I'm saying? And then him understanding later on, I was like, and then now he has this moment. You shouldn't realize it. And also, too, I liked how Luffy's response, because remember I asked you guys, does Luffy know? Because Luffy wasn't there any of those times. But it makes sense. Luffy's probably sensing him, and to the point where it's just flowing out of Zoro, where you get a sense, and he kind of is apparently wielding it well, right? So make sure that Luffy didn't really bat an eye or didn't shock. He's like, dude, how'd you not know? It's like, it's so obvious that you have it because it's flowing out of you. I thought that was dope, but Zoro, it was like, you're an idiot, man. And also Gabon ripping Zoro. It's like, this is unbelievable. This is unacceptable. Like, you're supposed to support your captain. You don't even know you have it. The whole purpose of this is that you have to constantly be able to use it for it to be effective.
Yeah, how disappointed you think he's going to be about the other Straw Hats not even having hockey?
Yo. It's like, it stops here at Jinbei? Shanks, bro. Like,
This your man?
This
you gave him fruit, too?
You gave the fruit and your arm? To this guy?
In the hat?
In the hat? To this guy?
Telling you, bro.
Crazy, you know?
He just continues to be better than Rayleigh. Continues to be better than Rayleigh.
Yeah.
Every second that goes by in a page, bro.
To me, it seems like it's funny because we see that Zoro is more like, out of Sanji and them, the warrior, right? Out of them two, the more combatant, right? But it's funny how even though Ray is the right-hand man, and probably maybe you could say others, but it seems like Gaban is more of that warrior, stoic stature figure.
It's a you and Lionel will get it. It's the vice head guardian thing from Crows and worse.
Listen,
Okay.
bro,
That's how it works.
Maybe.
I just know he wasn't 4 on the crew. That's all I know, bro. All right?
Yeah.
There's no 4s when Gaban was on that crew.
I'm just like,
Odin popped up for a second there.
Odin definitely wasn't stronger than him. Not in my opinion.
Odin.
My
insert.
bad, Lionel. My bad.
honestly,
What you say?
No, honestly, I can't. You can't definitively say that Odin, once he rolled up in the crew, he was second or third.
Yeah,
strongest.
you can't.
He probably was fourth,
Probably
like
fourth.
underneath Gaban.
Yeah,
like, you
bro.
know, like I'm not gonna confidently say that. We don't know, but
Yeah, and honestly, in the anime, they had Gaban fighting Odin. I was like, man, he's fighting really. I don't know anymore.
yeah,
bro. Like the anime.
They were trying to train Odin up.
Get your
They were like, yo, you
I sent it to you too, man. You're not using it right.
Rayleigh, bro.
You're not using your hockey right, man.
Yeah, man.
Rayleigh not gonna get you there, bro.
Granted though,
Roger knew.
Ray did meet them at a younger time. You know, like he had to train Luffy up to be this level.
Don't care.
Because Ray also didn't Ray come at Luffy how he was misusing his ability.
Yeah.
So like he came at Luffy too. So it's like
Yeah, training him on devil fruits.
Yeah.
I don't even got one.
He trained Luffy on fruits and hockey, bro.
Yeah. You know, so they stepping up.
Y'all
bro.
gonna hate my take, bro.
Yeah.
Tell y'all, bro.
And then going here, like to me, it's just like all right, going to Loki. He's so funny because he wants to be released, but to me, he's showing so much why you can't really trust him. Because all that speak you saying is like I'm not adding a little to the flashback too, and then we just get from freaking Hadrud, and the look on his face didn't show that he didn't do this. It said, dude, you flipped up sides on the world government against us anyway in the past. So you want us to free you? We can't fully trust you because you've done it before. And he's like, ugh. I was like, oh, so you might have did this? How you gonna come at this and yo, you have me, free me so I can fight for you guys against them. But you sided them in the past before. I'm like, that's crazy. Wait, and then also too, especially what he says about his father later on, I was like, Loki, come on,
Listen,
man.
bro.
You
There's
inconsistent, bro.
There's a perfect explanation. I'm telling you. I got an explanation why what that was.
He's inconsistent, bro. But anyway, and then Luffy. It's funny because we got this question last week about Luffy asking Loki to join. Right? I already knew Loki's answer. There's no way. Like
Yeah.
right? Like also too, like he's probably how he views rocks. It's gonna be different than how he views Luffy, but it's just like that. He also too, he's way younger than Luffy. I don't see Loki joining at all. Right? But not shocked that Luffy asked, but just like curious. It's like you really don't know nothing from this guy. What are you sensing from this guy? That I'm comfortable enough to have him join my crew because this dude, show me, he is a jerk. Some of that stuff that they believe about Loki, he has done. He is a jerk. You know, it's just funny how Luffy's just like to me the normal people that Luffy has on his crew. Loki does not fit that dynamic. You know, Luffy's not gonna go out there. All the straw hats kind of save people, go out their way to help people and save them. Do y'all honestly believe that Loki's gonna do that? He's not the type.
He already did it.
I don't know.
He did it when he started the fire.
Maybe I don't know, but we'll see. Right?
Yeah, I get you, Larry.
Okay. And yeah, same with Luffy. Again, I said before, want to see him fight. And now the last thing because I know I've been speaking for a minute, and so we could go move on. Is I know we were talking about stuff about the Holy Knights and everything, but maybe because you just need more of the firepower. But Gaban saying, nah, go ahead, you kind of need Loki to free him against the Knights. I'm like, I don't know what you experienced about them, you know? Maybe it's the fact that it's emu. Maybe it's emu's presence.
Ain't the Knights right now.
But like,
the emu hockey.
Emu hockey.
okay,
We need
maybe,
emu, yeah.
maybe. But like at this stage, you believe. So he doesn't believe then that Luffy and Zoro are enough to take on. It's not even Emu's presence here. Emu's not here. You know what I'm saying?
It's not just that, Lawrence. It's the fact that this same hockey that I felt from back then,
Yeah.
before I went up there and saw Loki with the bodies. So it's like, all right, if that hockey is back and Loki's right in front of me, maybe I got something wrong here. Maybe Loki didn't do that. So free the guys. And he got to feel guilty because y'all are part of that.
I can understand that, but to me it's like, because you all know, like 6 years later, you would be able to identify that hockey from the that abnormal hockey wasn't Loki's. So that shouldn't be new to you.
But hold on, you don't know what happened. You get up there, you felt the hockey, whatever. You get up there, Loki's there, bodies, Harald dead, etc., whatever. Like.
Nah, but what Lawrence is trying to say is that he's already letting you know that he can sense hockey.
I feel that, but what I'm saying is you can't identify. If he felt that
hockey before, he'd be able to feel it again.
What I'm saying is if you can't identify what the source was, like.
But you know it wasn't Loki's source.
But what are you going to say to the people? I don't think it was Loki, but this is what's here. This is the evidence that's here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of got to go with it on some level, unless you want to do the investigative work yourself. And goodbye, you feel like you was going to do all that?
Like, I came here to retire, man. I guess. But to me, it's like protecting your home, and I don't know. We'll see. We're going to get more into the story about, like, what's going on there. And, yeah, that's what I want to say for now. So go up to the discussion.
All right. We'll go to Seb.
All right. So there was a lot there. So starting with the Conquerors hockey conversation, Zoro not realizing it was funny as hell to me. First, I don't know about y'all, but I laughed out loud when I read that. I was like, "What are we doing, bro? Like, how many times you got to be told you got Conquerors hockey for you to realize you have Conquerors hockey?"
Yo, word.
But whatever. Like Lawrence alluded to, Conquerors hockey is going to be the key to countering the Gorosei and the Holy Knight's regeneration ability, like Larry and Lionel predicted, so kudos to y'all. Now, the original TCB translation that I read, it seems like Gaban was only referring to Zoro, right? And that scene was funny. I was like, damn, Oda just hoed Sanji like this. But then when I read the official, I was like, this is a very different connotation that's given here. Yeah. All right, so it's like, all right, how do I say this? My bad. All right, so Gaban sensing whatever he sensed in them says that. What do you say exactly? Let me get to it. I thought I had it listed here. He says there seems to be more than one of you here, and I've been debating with people in the Discord since the chapter basically dropped about this. Right? More than one could be two, it could be three, it could be four, whatever. But it's more than one, right? When he says this. The original translation I've read said there's another, like Lawrence pointed out. It's just Zoro. When he says more than one, it can imply that there's more than one, and like more than two even. And considering the rest of the conversation, Gaban already fought Zoro and Luffy. In his mind, it's clear that Zoro has Conquerors hockey. That's the flow of the conversation. That's a given. He says there's more than one, suggesting that there's another person that I didn't realize had Conquerors hockey in this group. And I don't think he's referring to Loki. I don't think he's referring to Zoro, because again, the way the conversation flows, he's like, yo, it's very clear that you have it. You seem more natural with it. To me, that plus, like Larry pointed out, the cutting off of the Sanji conversation tells me that whatever he says identified in Sanji could be the power of love, could be Conquerors hockey. Whatever he told him just then is probably him telling him that he has Conquerors hockey. Now, I've long been an advocate that Sanji might have it, right? And Gaban being a Roger Pirate, his parallel in the Roger Pirates, being the one to realize this latent ability in him could be great, right? But in general, I think we still need to put a cap on what we're doing with Sanji as far as Conquerors hockey, right? Because I had some people in the chat talking about Sanji's going to be a top tier, Sanji's going to be Whitebeard level and stuff like that. And I'm like, yo, we got to calm it down. I love Sanji, he's my favorite character, y'all know that. I don't think he'll be a sky splitter. That's fair. I think that's what
he should be. If he's going to be a conqueror, he should be.
The reason why I say that is because I believe Oda reserves that type of capabilities for the truly top tier. The Rogers, the Whitebeards, the Shanks, the Mihawks, the Big Moms, the Luffys. And eventually one day, Zoro will follow suit. I don't see that for Sanji for a few reasons. One, it's not in his character type. We have had conversations where we're still on 50-50 whether he should have Conqueror's Haki this deep into the story. For us to be like, yeah, he's got it, and now he's a Sky Splitter, I think that's a little jarring. And two, he would need a worthy opponent to split the sky with. Who is he going to split the sky with? Like, with Zoro, we have Mihawk as a potential person. Whether we have arguments about Mihawk.
Or Ethan.
Right. Maybe a Gorosei member? And then if that was to happen...
That's the only one.
Are we going to have like 12 Sky Splitters like fighting at the same time and the sky's constantly being split? And Sanji's one of those people?
Yeah. At this level of One Piece, the powers are getting crazy.
Y'all know me. I scale with the narrative. The narrative don't be telling me Sanji going to be splitting the sky with some guy from the Gorosei. But that's me. I'm, again, probably the biggest Sanji fan on this panel. I think he has it. I think it's not confirmation. I'm not going to say it's confirmation. I do think the way that this was written tells me that he likely has it, and then Gabon sensed some latent ability in him, whether it's Conqueror's Haki or not, but I think it is. And I just don't think he'll end up being a Sky Splitter. And ironically, the one person that I think he could split the sky with is actually Zoro. Because that's just how that's how they do.
Wait, you trying to tell me that Oda does it in a gag?
Yeah,
when
but that would annoy me.
That would be dope to me.
That's the only character.
That would be dope to me.
I'm talking about Gorosei. The only character I can see Sanji splitting the sky with is Zoro.
You know me. I don't like limiting people. I like everything going. You know.
But I believe he'll have it. It'll be useful for the fights to come. Now, Loki and the Straw Hat crew. Luffy asking Loki to join the crew was also funny. It's pretty predictable. I think anybody could have predicted that Luffy would do it, right? Like Lawrence mentioned, we got the super chat a couple weeks ago. I've always had the same thought process regarding Loki as I had about Yamato. Too strong, and in his case, a little too big, to be on the crew. Now, somebody presented an idea that if the way the ship is currently, he's too big to be on the crew, to sail with them. But if Frankie was to recreate like Pluton or like change the ship to match what Pluton might have looked like with the blueprints or whatever, then that wouldn't be a problem. Like if I'm reshaping the ship using Atomwood, which I have an abundance of, a giant tree here, I could reshape this ship to fit Loki if need be.
Dude, it would have to be like as big as the Elbaf Island to fit Loki.
Well, the thing is, Loki doesn't have to be on the ship because there have been people who have been captains and the Nakama had separate ships. Yeah. So he could have a separate ship.
I don't know that the Straw Hats will be that. They already kind of have that with the Grand Fleet or whatever, but like, I get what you mean. I think if you're joining the Straw Hats and Luffy's inviting you in this way and you're gonna be on the ship. You're gonna be on the Sunny, whatever.
But that's where they live. That's like their home.
You're gonna be there. Now, it'll be up to Frankie to make that happen, but I'm not absolutely ruling out a Loki joins the crew simply because he was in that mural, yo. Somebody who looked like Loki was in that mural with the final fight. Whether that's a crewmate, whether that's just an ally, whatever, we'll see. Harden's hesitation was perfect to me because it's like, yo, I can't trust you. Even like I got respect for Luffy. He's my captain. I love him. Whatever. He saved my life. Yeah, I can't just free this dude. Like after all he did, after all he's allegedly done, killing my father and taking out those people, and he's been a menace to me my whole life, essentially. Like, there's no reason for me to think that he would help. But that goes into what we were talking about with Kapan and sensing of the Haki. Now, I got to get this off my chest, bro. I'm going to rant a little bit right now. And I've been ranting about it for the past couple weeks, bro. And this is what I meant, Larry, when me and you was arguing, you was trying to say that I'm Luffy to Charles and Shanks. Hell no, bro. Yeah. Hell no. What was it? Yo, the Shanks meat writing's at an all-time high, bro. We got Emu and Immortals up there, bodying the crew, kidnapping children, terrorizing the land up there. And we out here like, nah, man, I gotta hang back because some guy said Shanks' name before a potential backstory.
It's not just
it's a backstory.
It's not just about that.
Luffy don't care about nobody's backstory.
Yeah.
Ever. In the history of this thing, except Odin one time. And now.
And Robbins. A little bit.
Man, listen. And now, even though all this is going down upstairs, and you know firsthand from Chopper's report, it's sticky up there. And you, Zoro, and Sanji are down here. You got Nami up there. Usopp up there. Jinbei should be able to handle himself based on Chopper's report. It's not getting handled, bruh. You sensed the hockey, but nah. Zoro, Sanji, go on ahead. Come on, man. Yo, he meat riding. I'm sorry.
It's not just about Shanks, though, bro.
Come on, bro.
Dude,
he was leaving. He had zero. He wasn't staying back for nothing. They said Shanks. He said, hold up. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that's not true.
That's 100% true.
That's not true.
It's true.
It's not fully true because
Stop
again, Luffy's curious what his connection to Shanks is.
But
Loki in their connection.
No, is that too?
In the relationship.
No, it was that too. That's part of it. I'm not trying to cut your part. You're going. I know, but you also got to factor in what did he just ask Loki?
To join the crew.
Right, and from the beginning, before he even knew that there was a thing between like whatever Shanks and Loki, right? Wasn't Luffy already asking, is Loki a good guy? Right?
Bro.
So this has been the dynamic of the whole thing, the back and forth. Is Loki a good person? Can you trust him? Or is he not? You know? So Luffy's been curious about Loki ever since he sensed him. Right? So this is his story of getting, I want to see for myself how this person is. How are you going to get that for this dude speaking? So it's part of this is linked to Shanks too, but it's not just about Shanks. It's Luffy finding out the type of person that Loki is.
Do you think Luffy would have stayed back if the name Shanks wasn't uttered?
Yes.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't. And I'm sorry, it annoys me, bro. Luffy's relationship with Shanks, I get it. I even love it. I need him to tone it back a little bit. I need him to tone it back a little bit, bro. You got your own crew. You got your own stuff going on. That crew is in danger right now. And now I want to talk about, he trusts the pirate, the wings and all that. Chill out, bro. It's a lot going on. Emu's hockey flexed and you started sweating. I'm just saying, man.
He did do that.
I'm just saying, bro. I don't need to see my de facto dad all the time. I don't need to hear about him. I took my dad out for lunch the other day, bro. He's okay. All right? Tired of it, bro.
He legit also said he wants to see Loki fight. If this is gonna be a way to find out what happened, Luffy legit said that.
Hopefully a kid doesn't die while we wait. hopefully, bro. I know they won't. This is One Piece, but I'm just saying. Say no, legitimately. I know I'm crashing out a little bit. Legitimately, what if Emu killed Nami while we're sitting here waiting 3 minutes for Loki to tell a backstory?
All Luffy has to do is go Gear 5th, and he's just gonna laugh about it.
That's crazy.
We saw him do it with Vegapunk, bro.
Bro.
When I saw that switch up with Luffy,
crazy, bro.
when it came he was protecting and he was laughing while Vegapunk was getting poked up, I was like, oh, this changed, man. This ain't the Luffy I know.
Oh, man.
But that's what Gear 5th done. It took him out of that. So
You done? Anything else?
I'm done, man. I'm done.
All right, Lino.
Okay, what was I gonna say? Okay, for the Zolo thing. Now, I know we were because when I first read it too, I was a little annoyed. Like, bro, you don't know. But so then before I just started judging Zolo, saying he's an idiot, you don't know. Let me go back and retract on what actually happened. So when Zolo released his conquerors on Kaido and cut him, Kaido told Zolo he was a conqueror. But right after, whether Lawrence believes it or not, because I don't think Lawrence, I still to this day, I think Lawrence still thinks Zolo was conscious. Zolo passed out. So when he was when he said you're a conqueror and Zolo said I don't know what you're talking about, immediately after he said I wish I pointed you to your knees. He wanted to take Kaido at least to the ground, whatever. Zolo passed out immediately. So when Kaido starts going on this rant about pretty much we did the world these all these conquerors and all this stuff, Zolo doesn't hear that. So I was thinking of maybe he forgot or he doesn't realize it, because you just got to bed, you're near death, you did a heavy attack, then right after Kaido hits you again while you're unconscious. So just so off that and the amount of damage he was getting through, fighting through the whole Kaido and Big Mom fight. Then he fights King. Now when he was fighting King and he starts realizing, the hockey thing with a sword, Enma, Zolo just focused that on hockey itself. Zolo doesn't acknowledge it as conquerors. Mm-hmm. Then when he finally admits his conquerors, he does knock out people, but the people are behind him. King only noticed that Zolo was a conqueror when Zolo did that. He saw the people behind Zolo getting knocked out. And that's what he says, you started becoming king. Zolo doesn't know what he's referring to or why he said that. Mm-hmm. Zolo just kind of shocked, but just well, I guess so. But Zolo still didn't get confirmation to the degree until that moment with Kaido. But again, that was a brief moment, and he passed out, got knocked out, and lost consciousness. So that we just assumed that Zolo knew, But actually, if you look at it, Zoe, there's no way. Zoe only actually heard it one time. He could kind of conclude that maybe King and what Kaido was still linking to, but why would he? These are enemies just saying stuff. Like, this is more of an ally telling him, like, we feel conquerors from you. And now Luffy, your captain, saying, yeah, verifying his statement. Mm-hmm. So Zoe didn't really get clarification till just now.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Even because we talk about the unknowing thing, like, unknowing using conquerors. That's actually the first time, to a degree, that we saw that in a manga, in the One Piece. That Zoe's actually using it, like, he's mastering it. Like, we've seen him use it multiple times now. He saw him use it against King. He saw him use it against Rob Lucci. But Zoe's doing a technique that he doesn't fully understand or know yet. And that's why Gaban ripped him for it. Because you have this haki, one of your strongest attributes of your attacks flowing out of you, but you don't even realize it. Mm-hmm. And now you don't even know how to use it. So you're just blindly using it. Mm-hmm. Like, he thought that was absurd.
Yeah.
So that's what I was going.
I was gonna say. So basically, what you're saying is, which I can understand. And this also makes I don't know if it makes it even more stupid or just dumb, whatever. But it's like basically he just thought his conquerors was his regular hockey.
Yeah, that's what he thought.
And then he just started using. All right, I'm just gonna use my hockey, like his armor. And
pretty much.
Yeah, y'all can't teach that boy nothing, huh?
Now with the whole
maybe he couldn't. No, I'm playing.
But the thing is, I was gonna bring up that too because, for instance. And that goes with the interesting with Sanji, because I said Oda did this before. Like, Lawrence brought up the whole troll with, Kid and Law and, pretty much with the whole Zolo and Sanji thing. But he did the same thing with Zolo. How he trolled us for so long about Zolo having conquerors. Because remember in Wano, when Zolo got angry because he saw the girl's arm get cut off by Kaido and fell to the ground, and Zolo, he got angry, slashed that queen, and he yelled out, and then you saw a big giant, eruption or earthquake throughout the building. Brook got scared and thought Zoe had conquerors. And Zoe's like, what are you talking? You know that wasn't me. Like, Oda made to a gag, but he's kind of doing it again, but later on we find it out that Zoe has conquerors.
Yeah.
Which we all kind of knew. Now, the only thing we don't fully know was Sanji. I kind of see with Sanji, again, we both go 50. Some moments I can see Sanji as a conqueror. And some moments I don't. But again, we also question certain people, sometimes Danjin Zhao, he's strong, but why does he have conquerors? When we could think of somebody else possibly could have had it, or whatever. We don't know. We go back and forth. But it's just, the fact that Oda had Gaban do that to Sanji, and it goes off thinking of, I feel like also Sanji probably would have been more upset that he found out he wasn't a conqueror. Because I was trying to focus on Sanji's reaction. I think he would start hating on Zolo more, or have that stupid gag thing. But the fact that he didn't, he got his answer, but it seemed like Sanji had a more mature reaction towards it. Either because he's more focused on what's happening upstairs, or he is a conqueror, but I don't know how Gaban could tell him that fully, because, for instance, Zolo is a conqueror, right? But Kaido is a conqueror too, and he sends conquerors. But he didn't send Zolo as a conqueror at all until Zolo unleashed his conquerors on Kaido and hurt him. The same thing with Luffy. Luffy's, with his whole crew, Luffy thought his crew passed by Kaido. Kaido didn't know, to my knowledge, what we've seen, that Luffy was a conqueror until he knocked all those people when he saw Luffy glare. Remember? When he knocked Luffy out, and Luffy said his eyes are still glaring at him.
Well, that was the first time Kaido ever seen Luffy.
But still, though.
At all.
But, I guess you can go through battle, because we don't know if Gaban knew Luffy was a conqueror and Zolo was a conqueror until through battle. You can probably say that. And that's how you feel. You can't just say that person's a conqueror by feeling it. Through battle, you can sense that person's conquerors.
Also, Luffy doesn't let it out the way Zoro does.
That's true.
Luffy just kind of chills with at a low guard or not at all.
To me, I was going by I don't know if Gaban could give him that answer yet, and that's funny he said that, but it's mostly when you have to awaken it, because I guess first you can't be a conqueror until you awaken it, and also has to constantly be emitted or put out. Sanji, to me, he hasn't gotten to that state, because Zoro hasn't gotten to that state. Ever since he locked conquerors now, it's been overflowing out of him. Because, his ambition, his swordsman, Bushido mentality, or whatever. But until you actually unleash your haki, because if you go by with Luffy, when he first released it, during that bull thing in Somebody Else Will Go, ever since he first awakened his conquerors, more and more throughout battle and whatever, he's just unknowingly emitting it. We have to wait if Sanji has it, he has to wait for that moment where somebody can actually sense it. Yeah. If it's not awakened, you can't sense that at all. And that's what I don't think Gaban could give Sanji that, because the fact that he didn't awaken it at all, He can't. He shouldn't be able to tell Sanji, I could like Dragon Ball's sleeping powers. Your conquerors are sleeping within you. Like that's a new thing that we don't know yet. Because that's just a new clarification that we didn't know you could do that. You could sense somebody's sleeping conquerors within them. That's wild. But then we don't know. Stuff has been crazy with One Piece finding out more things. So I don't know. For that aspect, that was the whole Loki thing. When you said what Loki mentioned, like when Hadrulin was coming at Loki saying that you sided with the government at one point, whatever. Off his reaction, I get what you're saying, but I can't fully say Loki did or did not do that because Loki himself doesn't explain himself or give a reason why he does his actions. Same thing with Odin. Like even with the whole Tim telling his story of what happened. He could have been told his story, but he let himself be in prison and all this other stuff. They still don't know what happened. To this point now, they're saying, Gabon and Hadrulin saying, give us 3 minutes, what really happened? Even now, he's still reluctant. This is gonna, if you tell them the truth of what happened, they could set you free, and now you can go fight Elbaf. But he's still reluctant to tell them what happened. So for some reason, Loki just doesn't want to explain himself or doesn't explain himself. And I thought the same thing with Odin. Like, you do things and you have your own reason of doing things, but you feel like, I'm not obligated to tell you anything. But now they're making him, forcing him. Like, you better tell us or this is it. Like, you're going to stay here. So that's what I got. And the fact that it also going towards the whole Luffy thing about him not viewing him as a bad person is portraying that more and more what Larry's saying, that Loki isn't a bad person, just the way he does certain things. He's a jerk. He is. He's not great of a guy, but he's not that bad of a person. The fact he has a friend and he actually cares about people and his brothers and stuff like that. And the fact that he views the death of his father is the most horrible day of his life. It's like, he does have like these things. He's not totally terrible. I was actually gonna bring out with Luffy, him joining the crew. When I saw this, it just hit me in the podcast. I don't think at all that Loki is joining Luffy. I don't think so. But what I do think now is going to happen, they're going to become blood brothers through this. Because I'm thinking they have something similar, like them. I'm both like I'm marrying a powerful pirate, Rocks to Loki and Luffy to Shanks. But also I feel like they have like a weird brotherly like Luffy's the little annoying brother, like going after Loki. Because similar to if you look at it like how. Luffy was interested in Ace a little bit. He kept on trying to follow Ace, and Ace was like, "Yo, get out of here! Like, leave me alone." But Luffy kept on trying to follow and get to know Ace and whatever. And eventually, he won him over, and then later on, they became brothers. I feel like something similar in a way is kind of maneuvering to that route, and also their whole Nika type of connection too. I mean, I know it's hard to digest. I just view it now, but I'm leaning towards that. But I don't know.
I feel like I would feel you if Luffy ain't already had it. With Ace and Sabo.
I know, but I get that. I get what I'm saying. I do think that, but since I'm not saying Loki's replacing Ace, but Ace is gone now. Like in a weird way, it's gonna be like another version of it, but different. But it's not gonna be with Ace, it's not gonna be connection of Sabo, Loki, and Luffy. No, it's gonna be its own separate thing. That's what I got. Like as an ally, it's gonna be more than the Straw Hats Grand Fleet. But it's going to be something similar also to a Ackerman and the crew, but Loki's not going to join Luffy. I don't see it. But I'm telling you, their ties together, I think that's the only way I could kind of see to it. I could be wrong, and I'm fine with that. But I see there's something more here that Oda's kind of picking up that, especially going by the mural, I definitely see possibly Luffy and Loki becoming, sharing cups and becoming blood brothers. I know why I keep messing with that word. Blood brothers. There we go. But yeah. I think... Any step over there? I think that's all I have for now. I think I said everything I had to say.
All right. So, Conqueror's Haki, the Haki of the Chosen Ones, a power granted to only 1 in a million, the ability to impose one's will on others, overwhelming them with their sheer presence, causing the weak-spirited to cower, faint, or flee. When Luffy witnessed Ace about to be executed at Marineford, he instinctively unleashed a wave of Conqueror's Haki, knocking out the executioners in an instant. In response, Garp muttered, "He was born with it, as I thought." Confirming the truth, Conqueror's Haki is innate. You can't train to acquire it. You're either born with it or you're not. This power isn't something anyone can just unlock with enough effort. It chooses you. And if there's any way to predict who might possess it, lineage has been the strongest clue, hinted at multiple times throughout the series. But there are a few essential truths about conquerors that often go unspoken. One of the most defining traits of a conqueror is their will to push forward, no matter the cost, even if it means passing away. It's the recklessness of throwing yourself into the fire simply because you refuse to be stopped. That is the mindset of a king, plain and simple. Another truth, conquerors only follow other conquerors, but their loyalty isn't out of submission. It's rooted in mutual respect when two dreams align. Sometimes a conqueror will even abandon their own ambition to support someone they deem more worthy. That's a conqueror. But even then, the pride remains. Still, too many conquerors on one crew often leads to chaos. That's why Whitebeard avoided recruiting them. He tried. They're forces of nature, not easily contained. I understand why so many fans want their favorite character to awaken Conqueror's Haki. I don't blame you. Your feelings are valid. But they do not reflect the reality Oda has built. If you even have to ask whether your favorite character has Conqueror's Haki or not, most likely they don't. When you see a true conqueror in One Piece, you just know. There's no doubt. There's no hesitation. They stand out the moment they appear. So, no, I don't believe Sanji is a conqueror. He most likely will never be one. And I'm done speaking about Sanji having conquerors for the rest of the pod. Since we're on the topic of Conqueror's Haki, I have to say, I'm glad it's finally confirmed that Gaban is a conqueror. It was up in the air for a while, but the moment he commented that Imu and whatever persons they place their power isn't truly immortal because of Conqueror's Haki, it sealed it for me. That line was a nice payoff, especially since me and Lano called it. Know what I'm saying? Loki reveals that he also possesses Conqueror's Haki. He mentions having fought the Holy Knights at some point in the past, but admits he couldn't explain how he was able to damage them until now. That's how I interpreted it. That alone sparks a lot of interesting thoughts. It's clear that King Harald and the people of Elbaf don't possess the same level of understanding of Haki as other kingdoms, like Skypiea with Mantra or Wano with Rio. Also, I don't believe Loki went to Marijoa specifically to fight the Holy Knights. I'm still under the impression that his clash with them occurred during the incident where it was said he had taken his own father's life. Now that we know Loki has Conqueror's Haki and can actively channel it into his attacks, that places him in the same tier as Yamato, at least for now. Until he shows us more, I'm ranking him alongside her, since she's capable of doing everything he's demonstrated so far. All right. Zoro being told he has Conqueror's Haki, and him just now realizing it, honestly irritates me. Oh my god, it makes me so frustrated. I had to look back. Back in chapter 1010, Zoro cuts Kaido like Lionel said. Kaido himself reacts with, don't tell me you can use the color of the Supreme King too. And what does Zoro say? I don't know what you're talking about. He literally had no idea what Kaido meant. Then in chapter 1033, King tells Zoro, after Zoro realizes he needs to maintain a certain Haki level, King goes, so you intend to be king? And Zoro responds, that's right. That's it. After that, he goes on to fight Lucci and uses Conqueror's Haki in his final attack, even though he's using it on his blades somewhat. And more recently, he conquers clashes with Saint Ethan Baron Venus Juro. So, bruh, you should be able to tell, right? How many battles has this man fought since unleashing it against Kaido? I mean, and he still doesn't know he has it? Who do I blame? Honestly, this says more about Mihawk training than it does about Zoro himself. If Mihawk was the one sharpening Zoro's skills and he never taught him about Conqueror's Haki or his Conqueror's Haki, then maybe it's because Mihawk doesn't have it himself, Lionel. But if he does have it, then why didn't he ever tell Zoro that Zoro has it? Why let him fight blind to one of the most critical powers in the show? The Mihawk inconsistency pops its head up every now and then, but it always gets downplayed and brushed off in favor of the world's greatest swordsman title card. All I know is Rayleigh, who wields a sword, taught Luffy, who doesn't wield a sword, what Conqueror's Haki was off rip, and it took less than a minute to let him know that. Y'all can eat that. I'm almost done. So I have a theory. I believe Loki was on the verge of becoming a Shichibukai after Hanafuda was defeated by Ace. Timeline kind of matches up. However, Shanks found out about this plan and stepped in, capturing Loki and bringing him back to Elbaf. This move would have served two purposes. It would have solidified Shanks' rise to the Yonko status, as Sebastian mentioned before, and it could have prevented Elbaf from falling under the world government's surveillance through Loki's potential alliance, the same way Jinbei did with Fishman Island. Shanks likely saw this as a way to protect the world's future, something he's been consistently shown to care about, and figured it was better for Elbaf to fall under his protection rather than the government's influence. It's worth noting that Hanafuda was defeated 4 years before the main story, and Shanks reportedly captured Loki 6 years ago. The timeline could line up, making this theory plausible if they're saying Hanafuda was defeated 4 years before the main story, where it's Luffy's sail. Because technically, it's a 2-year time skip, right? So, makes sense. I'm gonna be honest, I don't care about the new Nakama talk. It's always a blue ball moment for me. And we're at the end of the story, so I'll just let y'all eat that up if y'all want. Also, I'm going to comment on the next section of the chapter on what happened with that abnormal Haki Shanks and Gabon felt. And that's kind of all I gotta say about that.
In regards to the timeline, wouldn't it be just cleaner if he was one of the candidates before Hanafuda was a member?
Hanafuda was a member for a minute.
Do they say how long? Like I don't think they say how long he was. He just was one when Ace defeated him.
But he was one of the originals, from what it said.
I mean, I could definitely see them trying to recruit Loki for sure.
Yeah. So that's all I gotta say about that part. Let's do some super chats for the time being.
Yeah, we got a couple sitting. We got 10 from Buzzgroove. It says, it's pretty wild that the anime and manga are currently in 2 different backstories at the same time. I wonder if that's ever happened before. Also, Larry, happy LGBT month. The B
What?
stands for ball.
Oh my god. You guys are so corny, bro.
Another 10 from Spencer Jones. It says, Oda doing Sanji dirty during the battle because he's going to have him win the war later on. You Mihawk fans saying Zoro top 1 need to get a tic tac with them bad breath takes. Thank you, Spencer. Another 8 months at Nakama status from Tech D Throne. It says 8 months with the crew with the Nakama fist. Thank you, man. Another 5 from Anthony Herrera. Sanji fans in the mud right now. But where are the Gorosei fit? We've been waiting. I've been waiting. Hashtag Blackbeard Gang. Hashtag Evil Germa Twins. Hashtag Twin Takeover. Another 5 from Evan Bridgeford. It says, yo, these recent chapters just keeps raising the stakes. Always good to see y'all every Monday. Hashtag CD Larry. Hashtag Super Seb. Hashtag like the stream. Thank you, Evan. Another 5, Canadian from Smooth Weeb. If the giant's royal Delfruit was Nika's Delfruit, then none of the other giants would generally hope to become the sun god, since it'd only be possible for royalty. I'm going to get into that because I have a theory that pertains to that. So,
What was it? Say it again.
the whole super chat, bro? You just
No,
not
just
paying
the
attention? basically that if the devil fruit, the giant's royal devil fruit is the Nika fruit, then none of the other giants would generally hope to become the sun god. Because only royalty would get it. Number 5 from SC615. I woke up Sunday and my Loki stocks were like prime GameStop. Conquerors and most likely cleared of the allegations. We so up. Hashtag Larry Tax. Hashtag Shanks retconned. We'll get into that.
You
a
did
little
the
later
Anthony
as well.
Herrera one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Another 2 from Off Brand. It says, a lot of Conquerors talk this past week. Chapter was great.
No,
Yeah.
you gotta say what it is, bro.
Cock talk.
I can't.
All right, let's do these next 2, and then we're gonna go into it.
Another 5 from Kirby. It says, someone tell Luffy to turn the sun down. My grandma talking about Blackbeard over Shanks. Everyone bugging right now. Hashtag word to my Nikas. Hashtag kid of the packed up pirates. Stupid. Another 10 from Wise Life Jody. Happy Monday, fellas. What would have had more impact? Loki / Yamato joining the Straw Hats, or Aokiji / Fuji joining the Revolutionaries? Hashtag Lionel GBT is here. Hashtag
Lionel GPT, that's hilarious.
Hashtag lackadaisical Larry. Hashtag Law's shady business. Oh man.
They're calling you AI, Lionel.
All right, let's get back into it, guys.
Like
Guys,
collapse.
like the video if you haven't liked it already. Help us out with those likes. And then we're going to get back to Super Chats, okay? All right, so next. Also, guys, we have an hour and 30 left. All right, so next, the chapter opens with a flashback from 14 years ago inside Oris Castle. We hear the deep laughter of a giant echoing through the halls, followed by the announcement of Prince Loki and Chief Yarul entering the royal palace. The two walk in side by side. Yarul is surprised to see Loki was summoned too. Loki responds casually, saying, "Of course, because we're family." He compliments Yarul's appearance, then jabs at him to try not to live too long. Yarul tells him to shut his mouth. The guards inform them that King Harald is waiting. Loki, irritated, questions why he's even being summoned. He expresses disdain for King Harald, calling him a man who sold his soul to the world government. Loki goes even further, declaring that the world government are the same people who took Roxy Zebek's life, and if Elbaf is aligning with them, then he's their enemy too. Yarul urges him to lower his voice, saying he's an old man and would rather stay out of politics. Loki mocks him for his passive stance, blaming that attitude for Elbaf becoming soft. Yarul counters that this is the life they live now, and he's grateful his great-granddaughter's granddaughter doesn't have to grow up in battle. Loki mocks him again, but their attention is soon pulled to a commotion in the throne room. As they approach, the guards thank them for coming, but more noise is heard from within. One guard says he needs to check with King Harald before letting them in. Loki has no patience. He kicks the guard in the face and shouts, "Open the damn door," and busts the doors open. Loki steps forward, ready to greet his father, only to stop mid-breath as he witnesses a horrifying scene. All the guards are stabbing King Harald. Yarul is frozen in shock. Loki screams, "What's going on in here?" Cut to the Sun World at Gaban's home. Gaban and Shanks are soaking in a bath, mid-conversation. Shanks comments that this place is perfect, and Gaban agrees. It's been a while since they shared a bath. Gaban guesses 3 to 4 years. Shanks scoffs. "Are you kidding me? Captain Roger passed away 10 years ago." Gaban is stunned. It doesn't feel that long ago. Shanks admits that for him, it feels like an eternity. His life completely changed after Roger's death. He tells Gaban that his original plan was to travel with Buggy and live a laid-back pirate life, but even here in Elbaf, there's always more to learn. Gaban smiles and tells Shanks he's a child of fate. He advises him not to overthink it. Then he asks Shanks, "Do you remember when we met Dorian Bragi?" Shanks laughs and says, "Of course." Suddenly, Ripley startles them from behind. Gaban bursts into laughter as Shanks jumps. He explains that Ripley prefers when people are at eye level with her. That's why the house is built the way it is. Ripley wants to hear stories about Gaban's youth, so Shanks begins telling her about how Gaban had a different woman in every port they visited. Gaban pinches Shanks' cheek and playfully threatens him to stop. Later, as they sit outside the house, Gaban asks Shanks if he knows much about King Harald, mentioning that Elbaf reveres him like a god. Shanks says he met Harald once in Madi Joa. They got along well, and there was something Shanks wanted to discuss with him, but couldn't due to the setting. Now that he's back in Elbaf, he hopes to speak with Harald directly before it's too late. What did you guys think about this part of the chapter? And we'll start with Seb.
I love this part of the chapter. I really did. I really did. For so many reasons. It sparked like 4 theories for me. I'm not even playing. And I don't know if I'll have time to read almost any of them here.
Hopefully they're not 10 minutes long.
Listen.
I don't have much.
Yeah,
so.
I don't have
Bang! Because I got a lot to say. The
much
first thing is, it really sucks for Loki to see that. Like, it really does. Like, it just really sucks to see your dad get, like, assassinated like that. It reminded me of Julius Caesar. To Brute. Granted, I don't know any of these people's names or whatever, but he's seemingly being stabbed by his royal guard.
Yeah.
They all have the horns, so I don't know if they've all been Dami reversied again.
That's the helmets.
But yeah, but either way, overall they're getting stabbed up. I love the conversation between Shanks and Gabon. I thought it was really cool. Just a little lore drop. Like, the Roger Pirates have been to Little Garden. They've ran into Dory and Bragi. I thought that was cool. Shanks saying he wanted a simpler life reminded me of Larry's breakdown of Shanks and the burden of strength in One Piece. Like, he just wanted to be the chill pirate with his best friend. And basically, he's this child of destiny. He's not allowed to do that. Gabon looked like Johnny Depp to me. I don't know if y'all saw that. Maybe I'm tripping. But the biggest thing that I noticed in this section of the chapter is something I called y'all for, and I think I told Lionel about this. That hammer that Loki got is not the hammer that he has in the current timeline.
Yeah, it's not. I was like, yo, that's a different hammer.
Which sparked me to my little mini theory that Larry ripped me about a couple chapters back.
What, that he has devil fruit in his hammer?
That he got the hammer on the island of Ragnar.
Oh,
of Rajan Island. Now, I have a whole theory for that. I don't know if it's time.
I just hope
that.
it's not like 10 minutes.
It's not 10 minutes.
Like,
it's
a 5-minute theory is cool,
It's
bro.
not 10 minutes. We'll see.
You gotta, like, make your own videos at this point.
Listen, man. There's some stuff here.
So get cracking, bro.
But the problem is a part of it needs the end of the chapter.
So then say it at the end of the chapter.
I'll go with the other part of my theory, which also kind of needs a little bit. But, all right, so this has been going around the One Piece community a little bit now that I've noticed, is that we talked about it, time relativity in Elbaf.
We talked about it in the very beginning of Elbaf. Like, as soon as we saw the island.
Very beginning. And I think we have a lot more credence to it now. So, essentially, we discussed in the past that time may be moving a little differently on Elbaf, and we've got more credence with that thought in this chapter. So, Elbaf appears to operate on a time axis that runs approximately 3 times faster than the rest of the One Piece world. This could explain why Louis Arnott warned not to stay too long here. Prolonged exposure can create serious chronological dissonance. Aging travelers faster, or disconnecting them from outside events. More on that later. At the end of the chapter, it is revealed that King Harald is 45 years old in human years, but 15 years in giant years, signaling a radical difference of the passing of time in Elbaf residence. Colin is another curious case. He's the son of Ripley and Gabon. He's said to be 20 years old, yet he acts like a 6 or 7-year-old in his emotional and mental state. His stunted development may be a result of growing up under Elbaf's time conditions, where maturing happens out of sync with the rest of the world. Scopper Gabon, just recently in the chapter, having lived on Elbaf since Roger's death, perceives that only 3 to 4 years have passed, even though it's been over a decade in the wider world. This creates a chronological bubble, shielding Elbaf from global time flow and giving it a timeless and insulated feel. Now, we've seen the effects of narrative and physical isolation before. After just 2 weeks in Wano, the Straw Hats emerged to a completely different and altered world. The warlord system was abolished, the Cross Guild was formed, Buggy was now a Yonko, and the Marines now had bounties on their heads. If that's the result of just 2 weeks, what kind of tectonic shifts might the world have occurred while the Straw Hats spend extended time in Elbaf, especially with the time distortion multiplying the gap? And what can this time delay tell us about the past and current story of the island? This temporal elongation may also explain the origin of Imu's grudge against King Harald. In this chapter, Loki cryptically accuses Harald of selling his soul to the world government. This suggests that Harald once struck a deal, possibly for protection, autonomy, or forbidden knowledge, but took too long to fulfill his end of the bargain. Due to Elbaf's distorted time, what felt like a few years to Harald may have been several decades of frustration for Imu. That resentment could have evolved into the attack on Elbaf that saw Harald lose his life, possibly even what Shanks was there to warn him about. Imu's visual impatience currently with the God's Knights and the Elbaf operation now makes sense. If Elbaf's time lag disrupted previous plans or alliances, Imu may view the giants both as traitors and time wasters, and the current assault could be vengeance and cleanup all in one. Now, for how long it's been in the current timeline, I'm not sure. The Straw Hats first arrived on Elbaf in chapter 1126, nearly 30 chapters ago. With days or weeks potentially passing in the regular world, the outside world may have been weeks passing. The outside world may have experienced weeks passing by, raising the stakes for what's waiting for the crew once they finally depart the island. Mary Joie is already in chaos, but how much has the world changed? What new alliances, wars, regime changes have formed while time ran differently in Elbaf? And more chillingly, will that chaos erupt on Elbaf before the Straw Hats can even leave? So that's one of my theories, is the time dilation, whatever.
Yeah.
So
I think I believed in the time dilation entirely until Imu came through.
Uh-huh.
I think that the time dilation happens to be off because if time is going slower on Elbaf, then it's going faster outside in Marijoa, but Imu's also interacting with both times at the same time. So, in my opinion, if time is going way faster for Imu, then even when Imu's talking through Gunko, he'd be talking, or they'd be talking slower. Because Gunko's on Elbaf.
I feel like that's explainable away through just.
But it's like because
yeah.
put it this way, like all the logic in Interstellar is not true science-wise, right? But one of the scientific, I think, facts was if I was to FaceTime you and you're near a black hole, because it runs so much slower than it does on far where we are, when I called you, you would view me in super slow motion. And it was just because we're connected through the phone line. So even to me, I'd be like, hey, what up, Sebastian? And you would hear that message for like 5 years. You know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying.
So that's what's that would be happening with Emu right now.
But what if
that is true?
What if he has a counter for it? Like I don't know how you'd explain it.
How are you gonna counter time dilation?
It's a manga. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, I could say one, Oda just didn't account for it, and it doesn't matter. That doesn't affect this, which would be a plot hole in science, but like, this is a manga with people with superpowers. Like, it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's too scientific a rebuttal, in my opinion.
But it becomes scientific when you start speaking about time dilation, you know?
Nah, it's really just like, yo, time moves 3 times faster here. And if I can communicate with you, and all it would take is Emu's ability to perceive time faster or differently than other people, and relay his message in this time space. You get what I'm saying? That's all it would technically take. And you can explain that away with hockey prowess if you wanted to. You get what I mean? Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's too deep a rebuttal in science. I don't think Oda's going that far. It's just...
That would just be something we have to accept then.
Yeah. Which, I'm not mad at that being like a knock you have on it. I'm just saying I don't think Oda went that deep in his thought process with that.
I fully believed in the dilation, though, before Emu showed up. That was when I literally was like, oh, that now it's just not possible.
That's fair. All right, that was one of the theories. I have another one that's a little shorter, a little longer. But y'all good? Like I said? All right.
Yeah.
All right. Next theory. I believe the Nika fruit is the guardian deity of Elbaf. For generations, the people of Elbaf have safeguarded a forbidden devil fruit sealed away in a sacred treasure chest. This fruit, far too revered to consume, was not the same as those wielded by King Harald and Prince Loki. It was something else, something divine. All signs point to it being the Hito Hito no Mi model Nika, the legendary sun god fruit now possessed by Luffy. Just like Yamato's Okuchi no Makami fruit, that was said to be Wano's guardian deity, the Nika fruit is Elbaf's guardian protector. A god not of bloodline or politics, but of legacy and belief. Elbaf reveres Nika, and their interpretations differ wildly across tribes and generations. To some, Nika is a god of laughter, whose joy and levity could vanish sorrow and despair. A god of liberation, destined to free slaves and topple oppressors. A god of destruction, the storm that ends eras and burns away false kings. This fractured theology makes Nika both sacred and dangerous. Whoever possesses the fruit doesn't just gain power, they become the living embodiment of a contested divine symbol, drawing both devotion and fear. At some point, King Harald may have made a secret pact with Imu or the world government regarding the fruit. Perhaps Elbaf was meant to guard it indefinitely or surrender it when called upon. But Harald refused. Whether to protect Elbaf's independence, or out of mistrust, or in reverence to the sun god, he chose to lie to the world government, claiming the fruit was not on the island. This may have sealed his fate. Imu, enraged, unleashed the Holy Knights, who brought about Harald's mysterious death, triggering the political instability we now see in Elbaf's royal family. Shanks seemingly came to Elbaf to warn Harald of the Holy Knights' plan to attack him for the Nika fruit. Whether Shanks was made aware of the fruit's importance from Roger or his connection to the celestial dragons is unclear, but not important right now. He was too late to save King Harald, but the fruit was out there now. Shanks made it his mission to keep the fruit out of world government hands, and after defeating Who's Who, Shanks finally acquired it. But he did not eat the fruit. Instead, allowed Luffy to eat it, whether accidentally or him just outright betting on Luffy and the future. Recently, Loki said he met with Shanks, possibly speaking on all these matters, the decision not to eat the fruit and Luffy eating it, or more. To Loki, this was an act of cowardice, a betrayal of fate. Elbaf's god had returned to their hands and Shanks let it go, whether out of humility or fear of becoming too powerful. Shanks released the fruit into the world, where it would eventually be consumed by Luffy. Now, the most ominous piece of this puzzle, Rox D. Zebek. A man who is known as knowing too many of the world's taboos, Rox may have been the first true hunter of the Nika fruit. In chapter 1145, Zebek is seen on Elbaf during a mini Loki flashback, likely during the chaotic era before the God Valley incident. His presence on the island was no coincidence. It was a part of the greater goal to acquire another one of the most forbidden secrets of the world, the Nika fruit. If Zebek sought the Nika fruit, then this myth is far older and more contested than anyone knew. The struggle over the sun god has existed long before Luffy was born, with Zebek, Harald, Imu, Shanks, and now Loki all a part of a generational war for the identity of Nika. The Nika fruit may be cosmically tied to Elbaf, returning there through fate or belief, awaiting for the next worthy bearer. But now the cycle has been broken. Shanks let the fruit go, and Luffy, a boy of no noble blood, became the god they were waiting for. Now, a while back in Egghead, Vegapunk speaks to the belief in devil fruits. Devil fruits will spawn if there is enough belief in them. The entire Elbaf country believes in Nika, just different versions of him. So it's possible the Nika fruit constantly spawns in Elbaf, and that is why a deal had to be made between Harald and Imu. Because Imu would obviously want the Nika fruit and been searching for it for years. But now, if it is cosmically tied and the cycle has been broken, then Luffy becomes even more important and not his own child of destiny. When Luffy reaches Elbaf, he will walk into not just a battlefield, but into a spiritual crucible. Some will see him as a god of laughter, the savior. Others will see him as a god of liberation and burning the flame of freedom, but others, possibly Loki, will call him a god of destruction, an outsider who has stolen their divine legacy. Is Luffy their true heir of the sun god, or the final trial that will break Elbaf's faith entirely? Nika was born a myth in Elbaf. Harald protected it, Imu feared it, Rox tried to seize it, Shanks let it go, and Luffy became it. Elbaf made Nika its guardian, but as time passed, their image of Nika changed to reflect their views, fears, hopes, and ambitions. Now Luffy arrives not to meet their expectations, but to challenge them. The battle with Emu, with the current god of the world, is set to start, and the war for the future may not just be between two crews or factions, but between two ideals. What kind of god the world truly needs? I hope that was 5 minutes.
Hopefully I can make it in 3 when I edit it.
All right. But yeah, what y'all thinking about the Nika fruit is the guardian deity of Elbaf?
It kind of makes sense, honestly, to me. I mean, we still don't fully know the whole history of the Nika fruit, and it giving more ties or clarifying why the Nika fruit is what it is, or why the Elbaf have it so high. But the thing is, I don't remember them raving so much about the Wano deity of that fruit. We only heard about it in passing, kind of, honestly, with Yamato eating it and Kaido searching for it.
I will say, seemingly the history of Wano was being scrubbed and rewritten by Orochi. So it could be part of the reason why the Wano people didn't speak to it too much. But I agree. It got mentioned in passing by Kaido, who's not even from the island.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But my point really with that is that guardian deities of specific islands exist.
Okay.
And we had an example of that on Wano with Yamato, which was my Yamato tie-in when we were talking about her earlier a little bit. But yeah, I mean,
I like the rocks aspect.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Because we asked, like, why is Rocks here? Maybe for the mural. But if it's if everybody and their mom believes in Nika the way that Elbaf seems to, like, nobody's like, oh, he's not real. They all had a version of him that they thought was real.
Yeah.
If Vegapunk's theory is correct, this fruit should be spawning here. If it's gonna spawn anywhere, it's gonna spawn here. And maybe consistently. Now again, I didn't know where to go with Harald and the tie-ins with Emu. That's kind of loose. I'll admit.
Yeah.
I didn't have much to go there with that, but I would say, like, if it's something from way back in history, I could definitely see Emu trying to get the fruit through political means or whatever. And again, if the time piece is accurate, I made this deal with you 35 years ago. I made this deal with you 60 years ago, and you're still not doing nothing. What's happening? And Lawrence brought it up. Emu was extremely impatient. When he pulled up, he's like, "Y'all taking too long."
Yeah.
Because if it's times 3, everything's just taking much longer for him. So that's really it.
Because when you said the whole because it made me think of, like, when you said the fruit, like, started the world, pretty much the world government got it. I was thinking of, because the timelining fits it more. Because, for instance, 14 years ago, this is the flashback now. Shanks is 25 years old. This is before he goes to Fuchsia Village and gives Luffy the fruit. Granted, we don't know if he met Luffy or knows Luffy during this time. They don't clarify that at all. They don't. We just know that, because we know Shanks comes and goes whenever he pleases. But we do know 14 years ago he's here at Elbaf. They said a year later, 13 years ago, that's when he gets the fruit.
Yeah.
So going off what you're saying, the fruit could have been in Elbaf. But then the thing, Harold passing, that's when the world government finally got the fruit somehow. And they were transporting whatever, and Shanks somehow found that out, or he just randomly attacked, because we don't know if there was a random attack, or Shanks started looking for the fruit now.
Because he's warning Harold about something.
Exactly.
Like, he wanted to warn him about something.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I have, like, two more things.
Before it's too late.
I have, like, 2 more things that's not theory related. I just wanted to point out, I definitely noticed the abyss mark on Shanks' arm. In regards to that, I know I've complained in the past that I didn't like that Oda would be retconning Shanks' story with Luffy and making it some grander thing, like involving the Abyss Tattoo and making the flashback play a more pivotal role in the overarching story than just a personal one between him and Luffy. That's a little rough for me. I've complained about it, but I've also complained that Shanks was way too strong to be losing his arm to a lowly East Blue Sea King, so I guess Oda can't please me with Shanks. Like, that's on me, I guess. But I will say that it does tell me that him sacrificing his arm and his connection to the God's Knights holds way more weight than it originally did. So when he tells Wiper he bet his arm on a new era, he means that not just Luffy will be the Pirate King, but he's going to be the one that changes the world one day. Gabon in this chapter also stated that Shanks is also a child of destiny. Shanks may not know the full history, but he knows that he's meant to play a role in this future. So for a long time, it seemed that Shanks would just be this protector, kind of holding the stage in place while Luffy comes of age. But recent chapters seem that he's meant for much more than just being Luffy's mentor. So I know I'd be hating on Shanks a lot, but he's definitely going to be probably a focal point in the final war here. I still hope he gets clipped before that, but we'll see.
How does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, things change. People change. People die. You know? But that's all I got. Oh, also, Gabon had the Amigasa hat. I thought that was cool. It's a little...
I mean, he's been had it.
Yeah, but like he had it hanging up. Like I like that. Like he just has it. Like it's cool. I'm done. I'm shut up.
Lana, you were saying something about the timeline?
I'm just talking about the timeline because going by 14 years ago and like lining things up with, like what I just said before with the whole Shanks and Luffy and now him, like what Sebastian's saying, him going after the fruit. Because again, it's a year apart. Like
it's just a year apart.
Yeah.
14 years ago, that's when Shanks and Gabon met up at the bat. 13 years ago, that's when the Gomu Gomu no Mi was stolen.
Yeah, then 12 years ago, he talks to Luffy and and gives Luffy the fruit. Because like Luffy's 5 now. He meets Luffy. Again, going off he didn't know Luffy already. Or going to that year, Luffy's 7 when they actually interact and he loses his arm. I actually did not notice that thing on Shanks' arm.
What?
I didn't. I was so focused on their conversation that I didn't notice like that thing on his arm.
Got a Bismarck, man. You got something.
So that goes to. Didn't somebody say that pretty much going into? And I guess probably you're going to say it in a way because, for instance, I always questioned, and I guess maybe going by Shanks' ignorance, he's a kid because why go to the Gorosei in the world government? Like, because I know that's your family, whatever, but you kind of, in a way, show that your family is the Roger Pirates. But I'm also thinking of, like, all right, whether you found out by whatever means, somebody told you, because I'm pretty sure, I don't know if you knew this from the beginning, that you're one of the nobles in the world government. And, like, you know what I'm saying? Because he only started going to them until Roger passed away.
Lionel, adopted kids is always going to try to find their real parents, man.
It's true. But the thing is, and that's what's going by Shanks' ignorance. Because I know for you're too young, and you didn't travel with the Roger Pirates like that to fully know what the type of people they are. Because how you are as a person, you know for a fact, you don't mess with them. Their attitude, how they treat people, whatever, like, that does not line with you or thinking at all. But now I'm saying you got the mark. Were you deciding whether to do it or not? Because I also thought of even the timeline, if you look at it, Fisher Tiger and Bull Hancock are slaves during that time. Granted, I don't know if Shanks was going back and forth with the Holy Land and how long, but 14 years ago during that time, Bull Hancock is a slave and Fisher Tiger. And I think the next year is when Fisher Tiger, I have to look at it again because I just had it. Actually, I had it over here. But Fisher Tiger breaks free from the Holy Land and leaves, then goes back to free the slaves. During that time, Shanks is interacting with the world government. So he could have even saw them and met them. I don't know because they're slaves and whatever, but like it's other condition, like and also like how they're treating fishermen and other people. But like to me, it's just like, but to me, it showed when he wanted to talk to Harald, showed that Shanks was deciding something, but he also tried to tell him that whatever it is was to go against the world government. I think because again, actually, with Shanks' end result is the same arm he saved Luffy with is the same arm his ties to the world government. Going to that person's theory, that's his shover. Like pretty much him betting on Luffy's also saying he's finally made a decision. I'm cutting ties with the world government.
Yeah.
Because right now it seems like he was going back and forth. He didn't fully know. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm gonna say, for all you know, since he probably got that tattoo at birth, because if he was born in as a knight, because you've seen how the girls they do it, because they're separating the regular CDs, and then there's the knights, and then later I don't know how ranking goes, but the Gorosei. But we see there's certain families that are knights and certain families that are just CDs. Shanks, we see Garling, we see Shamrock, and them. He was born as a knight. The knights probably get that from birth. That because to me, I only say that because it doesn't make sense for Shanks as the timeline.
Yeah.
All this time with Roger, you're going to the knights and then getting that tattoo as a teenager. But you getting it from birth, like, no, he's going to be a knight. These are knights. Mark of the Knight. You get, not branded, but you get Mark of the Knight, and then your link with Emu or whatever, how they roll it, or just using that teleportation portal, whatever. But I can see that's, all right, he's a knight, they get marked. Because he's going to be raised as a knight in the Gorosei. And then the CDs, they go about their business. Because we've seen there's definitely a separation between the knights and the CDs, or the ones associated with Emu and the ones aren't in the CD class. So I think he got that at birth.
I could see that happening because I can also see like them seeing that mark, finding Shanks as a baby and seeing this mark. They didn't know where it's from until they go, or even God Valley said that that's the same mark as them. Because like obviously because they went to God Valley before they met Shanks, so they had to see it there or later on. And then that's probably when they told Shanks, like, or when he got mature. It could have been that moment when he was crying. We don't know. But, like, because Shanks had to find out about something. Either he saw them and noticed it, or they really told them, yo, you have the same mark as one of the nobles. That's your family.
Yeah, I'd say I don't think he got it at birth personally. I'm not disagreeing with you that it's not possible. I think there's a more compelling story to tell for Shanks to have been the cabin boy on the greatest pirate ship of all time and still be potentially tainted, if for lack of a better word. Like he's still like, if Emo's supposed to represent the devil and everything, like he was still tempting Shanks. You know what I'm saying? Like the life. My twin brother is here. My father's here. My family's here. I can be rich. I can have everything I want in the world here. The power, everything. And even though I was raised right by Roger and them, he still gets tempted by Emu, the Goroseis, the Holy Knights, Shamrock, Garling, etc. So I think it's just a more compelling story to tell with Shanks, with that him making that convicted decision.
Yeah, exactly.
Is his. No, I'm deciding versus I had this tattoo, whatever. I never was with them, but I could be back and forth. Like the fact that he's went there at all and has conversations and lived in it and is talking to I met with Harald and knows something that's about to happen to him. Like that tells me he was being indoctrinated into this cult in some way, whether it was by choice or not, but he was in some way being tempted to go into that route. And he made a decision not to.
And I was going to go into that, because again, that's what brought up Shanks being young. Because again, you had a family and now you just lost it.
Right.
Shanks could have been finding something, all right, maybe this is I don't say a new family, but maybe Shanks was missing that.
And even beyond that, what did he say in this chapter? I just want a simple life with Buggy. Buggy already said you can't get that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to be a simple pirate with you. He's basically been forced since day one to live a life he didn't necessarily want. Whether it's with the Holy Knights, God's Knights, whatever, or it's this destined great pirate.
Yeah.
Larry already said, the burden of strength is upon him. He doesn't like enacting what he has to. He wants to chill out. But I'm this child of destiny. I'm forced to make these decisions myself. So, I don't know. If he got it at birth, it tracks. It could. I just don't think that's as compelling.
Yeah, I think it's, to me, writing-wise, it's written well better if Shanks was struggling with those decisions.
I can see what you say too, because even Bucky kind of called him like this child of destiny because like this prodigy that he showed, right? But to me, it's like, for example, I understand what you mean by that, but also to me, how I see Shanks does things, he kind of goes in person to settle or to get answers for things. So I view it as, all right, you have this mark, you find out your lineage is with this world nobles, the kings of the world, so to speak, right? And you say my theory, you had it since birth, right? And you find this out. Going by Shanks is going to find answers in person. He would go to Marijoa to find out answers, you know? Because also Shamrock even said, he did come here, he did return home, but he chose the filth of the world. Right? So to me, it's more like Shanks went there to find answers to kind of judge in a way, like about his ancestry, who they are as people. Right? What does he want to do? What is my stake in this? I'm this child of destiny through Roger and through them. I have a choice to make. This heavy thing about the sun god fruit and all this stuff. What I know about the history. Yeah, I don't believe Shanks knows everything, but he knows a lot more than we from the storyline, because he should know a lot. To me, he should know how to get to Laugh-Tale, because you kind of were conscious for most of the trips that Roger took, but he's waiting for something. He says that after Luffy awakened, now's the time for go after to find the One Piece, right? So he has a decision to make, all he knows now and mapping out things, but he also knows I have to follow the timeline because Roger was too early. I still have to wait no matter what, right? I have to wait for something. He has to wait 20 or whatever years. But to me, it's like weighing that decision, finding out them is just like, I know for a fact that they're the ones, because even how he responded to Green Bull, right? He says, "Are you guys so afraid of the future?" Like, kind of even want to say, like, even want to go back to Luffy. He's part of the Destiny Child, right? you guys are Destiny Child. He's part of that class of like the future who could change the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's addressing that the world, the government, and in a sense the Marines, that class, they're that afraid of it that after Luffy just battled, you're willing to attack him then, right? So to me, it's like more like he went there to find answers and to kind of make his decision. It could be that he didn't get it yet, but to me, I don't make sense that I'm gonna go a little bit and get the tattoo when when Umu represents evil.
But that's why I talked about being tempted. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not trying to make an allegory to the Bible, but even in the Bible, Satan tried to tempt Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can see Oda going that route, bro, with Shanks.
Yeah, but Jesus wasn't never tempted or like
and
even
Shanks
thought about it.
ain't Jesus. He's human. He not gonna stand 10 toes like Jesus did.
True.
I'm just saying. And y'all know how Oda like to wank Shanks, man. So.
I don't know. But also, question though, because you guys keep bringing up those Shanks you did with the fruit real quick, because I know we got to move on. It's already about to be 8. Then what's the fruit that Loki has now? If Harald had it, he did eat it, right? And then they murked him, and then all right, it went into its whole reforming, and then Shanks found it. We definitely see like we didn't get that far yet, but Loki shows now. He claims that he is this. Right, he is it. And also too, he has some time to show it. But I know the Giants will say that Luffy does look like that, right? They never mentioned what Loki looked like in that form with using his ability. But I think that's Oda just hiding it. But Loki heavily believes that he is it because of what he ate. I think maybe not fully. I think part of it is because I think he believes that he was that already. And I kind of actually have a little bit on that a little bit towards the end of the chapter, but. Also, one last thing, because we all know when Harald got like poked up by his men, we were asking, all right, did his men get like fifth or they like whatever because they'll have the horns? But you see, even outside that, the ones that seem calmer, they had it too. But look at Harald's face. What the heck is that? Because he should have ripped off his horns already.
That's his mustache.
Is it?
No, it could be a horn.
I was like, yo, that thing that's like coming out of him. I was like, what is that? It's not as big as Loki's, but I don't think in my head, is it his mustache? Yeah, you think so? Because to me, it looked like a horn, and I was like, he ripped off his horns already.
What is that? I said somebody got Diamond University, whether it's him or them.
Yeah.
Holy Knights is involved in this.
But that's the whole thing is like, if he got Diamond University, I don't think they'll be that quick to poke him up like this because how they view him. Kabali just said the way they viewed him as like this god figure. Just because he starts wilding out a little bit, they're just going, we got to take him out.
What if he asked them to? Because he's fighting back.
I don't know.
And he's going to take all of them out, honestly.
I don't know, man.
We'll see.
Because also, too, look at his back. It's weird. You see another horn. And that's his
I didn't saw that, too, but...
I was like, I don't know what the heck that is. If you look at Harald's back...
It could just be... What it could be is more stabs.
Because look, that's what his mustache looks like.
Yeah. So I guess so.
But... We don't know.
Then what's coming out of his back?
I don't know.
Other half of his mustache.
They got him all twisted
dirty,
up.
Man.
That's crazy. But anyway, I think that's... Yeah, we got to move on anyway.
Lawrence and Lana, you both done?
Yeah, we're done.
I've been a huge believer that when Roger came back, he told Shanks that he was a celestial dragon and that he was not the next Pirate King to be. Shanks looks at Roger the same way Luffy looks at Shanks. You have this person that you admire tell you that you're supposed to be the greatest person ever to exist after he's gone. And the next thing he goes is he says, you're not going to be that person. That person's going to come soon. But it's going to be your job in order to make sure that becomes a fulfillment in the future. And Shanks, his personality completely did a 180. He talked to Buggy, he was completely different. In excitement, happiness, all that. So Shanks, around that time, was 13. When Roger disbanded the crew, 13, died, 13, all that stuff. I think as soon as that happened, Shanks went to Marijo. And I don't think he went out of the, hey, I want to know who my family is. He went out of the, these are the dangerous people that are going to come and attack the next Joy Beta B. and I have to make sure I know exactly their ways and the way they do things, what they can do, and know what my relation is to them. So he goes there, and when he does, he notices that there's most likely a reverie happening, right? A reverie is happening because technically reveries happen every 4 years. And that would be around the time it's happening. That would also be around the same time that he meets King Harald, because King Harald most likely attended the reverie for the first time. Now, granted, Shanks, when he's about 17, starts gathering his crew. So from the age of 14 to 17, there's 3 years spanned where he's probably just chilling. And he's probably on Mary Joa. And he's probably learning all these things. And like Sebastian said, he was being indoctrinated, but I don't think he was. I think he was self-indoctrinating. He literally went in there, saw whatever it was, learned of its dangers, got the tattoo to be more friendly with everybody, and then once he had the trust and communication from his family, he said, yo, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna choose to live on the sea. Never came back to Marijo after that. He became a Yonko. Probably was part of the deal. I could probably become a Yonko. You know what I'm saying? Captures Loki, solidifies his protection over Elbaf because he then learned more of the true history. It's already there. He wanted to talk to King Harald when he was 25 because he didn't get a chance to do so back when he was however young. You know what I'm saying? So he's always been under this constant struggle of me needing to protect the future because I'm not what Roger said I was going to be. I need to be something even more. But that was always his outlook on Roger, is that he's the greatest gift to the world. He was the superhero compared to everybody else. So I can see that's why Shanks happened to go to Marijo and become friendly. I don't think it was anything of him being tainted or sought after. Mm-hmm. That's not a conqueror's. Right? Like, conquerors are not going to be, here's a little something. Nah, Shanks is like dead steady in his beliefs. That's what makes him a conqueror, is your belief and your belief in yourself. And there's nobody that's going to be above me going to tell me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do. And I've seen the truest conqueror of all time in Roger, right? So if I see somebody like Garling or Shamrock or, these guys are bums to me, bro. Mm-hmm. You don't amount to the captain I lived under, my true father. You know what I'm saying? That's how I look at it. Now, I will say this, and this is for all my Mihawk fans. So, if Gonko is shown to have her haki messed with because she happens to have these tattoos, right? Or all of a sudden you could be chilling in your room and somehow you're transported to somewhere against your will. We could kind of say that maybe the tattoo on Shanks' arm kind of messed with his haki. Know what I'm saying? So if Mihawk is fighting Shanks and his haki's being messed with, and Mihawk still can't beat him, seems like he's been fighting Shanks with one arm his whole life. Whole life he been fighting Shanks with one arm. Listen, man, Mihawk took a lot of L's this chapter, in my opinion.
It's funny because I'll say this: Mihawk fans, they did in my DMs talking about, he was fighting Shanks while Shanks had the ability to be immortal and this and that. I don't know if Shanks ever had that.
No. I don't think the immortal ability is given to everybody, and sure as hell ain't giving it to somebody who's leaving to become a pirate on the blue sea. Why would I want that?
And who came from there?
Yeah.
And then he's iffy now.
All right. And two, listen, man, we've watched an orange jumpsuit character with a chakra seal on his stomach, and he couldn't make he couldn't make Kage Bunshin's because Kurama was messing with his chakra. All I'm saying is there's a lot of similarities. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, listen, man. My boy Mihawk has a lot of explain. He might be the only character I really need to have show out, because He takes L's, bro. In my opinion, he just takes L's. But that's all I gotta say.
Lawrence, how you feel about Larry just comparing Shanks to Naruto, man? How'd that make you feel inside? That's your boy. That's not your boy.
I actually believe that Shanks' hockey's too strong for Emo to even try to.
I don't know if we could say that at that time.
Hey,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, coming up, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
What I thought you were gonna say? What I thought you were gonna say, Larry?
What?
Because we don't know if Shanks and Mihawk fought each other, but I thought during their fight, Shanks and Mihawk were fighting. Shanks was about to win, and they teleport Shanks out of there. Like, yeah, we need your son,
I was about to win, man.
And Mihawk's like, we draw again. Draw again?
Yeah.
Dude, I had you.
So disrespectful.
Good thing you ran.
Good thing you
So disrespectful.
Damn, yo. I would have won. I would have won, yo.
This is why Fex should be crashing out. Yeah,
Yeah.
Remember, he comes, Mihawk's like, I almost had you. Mihawk Shanks is like, you never even had your sword.
You had me?
You never had me.
You never had your sword.
Damn, bro. Disrespectful, bro.
I will say this. I called it, bro. I told y'all that this dude was most likely under Domi Reversi. There would be no other reason as to why these royal guards who are sitting there would come and attack him straight up. And I guarantee you, the type of man that King Harald was at this time told everybody to attack him right now.
So, well, I feel you on that.
So serious.
What do you say about Loki's comments about selling his soul to the government and like these are the people that killed Rock? So what are your? I know you spoke on this before, but
Loki only says that about King Harald because one, he doesn't like the peace that's being brought upon Elbaf. He feels like it's making them weak, right? Two, he's saying that because the world government, if it is from whoever told Loki what truly happened about God Valley, it was the world government that took action against Rox, and he ended up passing away. So they killed his Roger. So he's like, yo, I'm an enemy of Elbaf if King Harald, my father, is looking to associate himself with the world government. And because he went to the reverie, he said, yo, my dad, so-and-so, bum. I don't like him. That's really what happened. So he's not actually mad, or he thinks that King Harald is this devious person. He's just like, yo, you linked up with like a person that killed my idol. And like you're making Elbaf weaker. Yo, F all this. Be what you were before all this happened.
Yeah.
And he don't like that.
I don't know.
So and the thing is, right? Loki has never once stated that King Harald ever like attacked him, or King Harald ever did him dirty, or King Harald didn't care about him or didn't love him, right? We go right here into this panel. He's like, what's going on here? He's ready to murk all the royal guards because they're attacking his father, even though he don't really mess with him. But that's where it comes into play. If King Harald had this responsibility towards Elbaf, and then he passes away, and Loki loves his father, why do you think Loki linked up with the world government? Haruden just said it. He was probably trying to follow in his father's footsteps by becoming a Shichibukai at one point. And because it was like, yo, that's how I honor my father, but that's also how I protect Elbaf, where Haruden's like, are you really for Elbaf in this chapter? And he's like, yo, I'm not talking, but like, I've been for Elbaf. And that's where I said, did Loki ever try to help Elbaf when he was chained up? I think so. I think he alerted everybody by setting Branch 8 on fire to say there's something going on in the Sun world right now. There's enemies that I've fought before. And then where do we end it? We ended where, we didn't end it there yet. But I do think that your theory rings true with Shanks wanting to discuss the devil fruit with King Harald. Because I've mentioned that King Harald was planning to give the devil fruit to the world government.
I went back and watched your theory for more if you had already spoken on that specifically, like the way I was going with it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you was
but-
spitting, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I was like watching it today.
Yeah, I called a lot of shit.
Yeah, I was
bro.
like, Larry,
like if you
I
go
know.
back to like some of
Did
those.
you just curse, man?
Did I curse?
Yeah,
you did.
I'm about to say.
I said ish. I had an itch. Nah, but I definitely, I was watching back and I was like, yo, why am I firing on all cylinders?
Spitting, bro.
Yeah. But anyway, let's do 2 super chats and then we get to the final part of the chapter and then we'll read the rest of the super chats. Yeah, sorry guys, it's just this chapter's filled, you know.
Loki, I got another theory too. Number 5 from Fellwatcher Peak. It says, if you know Vinland Saga, is Loki and Harald similar to Thorfinn and Thor's? I need more.
Yeah,
I need more from.
can't-
How far are you now?
I mean, I'm on the part where he just in the farming, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to see more. I need to see more. They're definitely more like Thor and Odin parallels than I see from Thor's and Thorfinn. Another 5 months from Neil at Nakama Status. It says, hey y'all, Elbaf is a training arc, all getting strong. People have been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. Another 10 months at Nakama Status from King Ray. It says, not a freak off, but a pounding party. Google it.
Okay.
What?
Okay, bro.
Nah, I'm
All
not-
What?
Just read one more and then we're going to go back to it. read one more, bro.
Another 5 from Clarence Lockett. How would you guys feel about Zoro and Sanji training up Usopp like Hiei and Kurama did for Kuwabara? Wow. I've never thought that could be a thing, man.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Project Iceman with the 5 gifted subs.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, guys, let's get to the final part of the chapter, and then we'll read the rest of the super chats. I promise. I'm so sorry. You guys know time limit, lot of super chats, lot of chapter. Plus, there's 4 of us today, so we gonna be talking.
Blame Canada.
All right. In the final part of the chapter, we witness a surge of abnormal haki erupting from Oris Castle, right after Loki and Yarul discover King Harald being stabbed by his own soldiers. What followed was deemed a massacre. King Harald perished. From afar, Shanks and Gaban sense the outburst and wonder whose haki is that. Inside the castle, royal guards plead to be let out, but they're blocked at every exit. Suddenly, Yarul is struck right through the skull with a blade. A figure steps forward, positioning themselves between everyone else and a large treasure chest, the one said to hold Elbaf's most forbidden treasure, a devil fruit. What could have made the people of Elbaf revere this individual so deeply? To understand that, the story plunges into yet another flashback within a flashback, this time 109 years ago. At that time, when one asked, what is the most frightening thing on the sea? The world had only one answer. We see a young Dory, Bragi, Oimo, and Kashi, the original giant warrior pirates. A massive ship appears on the horizon approaching a kingdom. It's a royal vessel from the land of giants. A shadowy figure, face hidden, tells one of his giant comrades to look at the castle. There, in the distance, is a beautiful princess. As the giant leans in to get a better look, another giant resembling Loki suddenly kicks him in the head, launching him into the castle walls, crumbling them on impact. We are then introduced to a young and reckless King Harald, age 45. He laughs wildly and shouts to the crowd, "Who's your god now?" The world came to fear Elbaf, not because of its size or might alone, but because its king was, without a doubt, a chaotic, low-life scumbag. What did you guys think about the end of this chapter? And we'll start with Law.
Yeah. So, going back to before, I was talking about like what fruit did Loki eat, but I'm gonna actually speak very little on this part. But to me, this actually raises a lot of questions because not only does King Harald look a lot like Loki, right? A few differences, but he resembles Loki, right? It seems like not only he looked like him, he was actually just like Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Like Loki was exactly like his father when he was younger. Right?
Yo, daddy son.
Yo, word. And the fact that technically he's supposed to be like 15 years old at this time is crazy to me, right? And then it's like, all right, but also he's 15-year-old that became like king, right? And then at first there's a difference here because you see that, all right, there's the giant pirates and then there's the king's ship, right? So first I was like, hold on, was he? First I thought King Harald was the one that was like leading the pirates on it. I was like, no, there's two different ships here, right? And how much of it is like, it made me laugh though. If you check this move he just did, kicking this, when you lure your giant, your fellow giant to look in there, and then like, oops, I slipped just to be a jerk, kick him. And then how many people he made just like took it out here? I'm not saying he took out that princess or their family, but he could have, because how could they survive? Yeah, exactly. Like, he's that much of a jerk.
Yeah, he dead, bro.
You roll
Is
to
that not her right here?
Nah, there's a lot of dead people.
Yo, like how many people survived that? I don't know.
You know how many like people they got cleaning the basement?
Yo, all that crumbled on top of them.
Yeah,
right?
bro.
But it made me laugh though. If you look at the way Harold's doing this. We literally just seen Loki just do that earlier.
Yeah.
To go into the thing. So I was like, yo, he's just like his dad, right? But what makes me laugh though is because we see. So if you go to chapter 1136, right, and it's around where they first meet, the Straw Hats first meet Ja Rule, right, and it's like they're talking about the sun god Nika, right, and you're saying how big it is in the Elbaf culture and how every kind of giant kind of wants to be that, or they view that, or it influences them some way, right? And it makes me laugh though, because you see how Loki is. He believes he's the sun god, but he's a jerk and he's all this stuff like that. And now then we see how Harald is. But Ja Rule says, he mentions that it could have been the reason why Loki acted the way he did. And then also he mentions the late King Harald linking to that too, right? If I go to the exact wording of it, right? I have it right here. Right, he says this. Yeah, it's just like, and even Loki and the late King Harald, in a sense, are the results of attempting to be Nika, perhaps, right? So I was like, we kind of gloss over the Harald part, because he didn't even say his name, he said the late king. But it's just that Harald and Loki were kind of doing the exact same thing, thinking that they're Nika. But they show that, I don't know what this personality has to do with it, but the way they ruled, and Loki is a prince, or trying to be king, thinks he's Nika, sun god. Harald is king now, but I notice how their attitudes are the same, right? So I thought that was very interesting about how they behaved. And also, too, have you noticed that all the giants that view Loki as like this horrible person, whatever, it's usually the younger generation, right? Because if you think about Dorian Bragi, right, they were where? Most of the time, they were fighting each other. So they didn't really experience Loki. And if they did, they didn't really say much about how they view Loki, right? And then Ja Rule's speaking in a way to defend Loki. It's usually the younger pirate generation who experience it. Because now, because the thing about, too, they view how they love Harald and everything, right? The older generation will know how Harald was when he was a kid. And if you see Loki, the older generation will be like, oh, that's exactly how Harald was. So they could kind of understand that's exactly how Harald was, our great king or whatever, before he kind of like calmed down. But that's younger him. And a result of him wanting to be Nika. You would see the connection between him and Loki. But the younger generation, they'll probably only know of Harald as this more mild, this great, not the jerk that he was in the past. So I noticed that usually the younger generation giants view Loki as the worst person, the scum of Elbaf, right? But Harald was that before. So I thought that was very interesting that we never saw from the older giants how they view Loki and everything. Even Dorian Bragi, he would be part of that generation because they were the giant pirates at that time during Harald's young reign. And that's what I really had.
All right. Long and no.
Sorry. No, it's actually, you kind of answered it when you said pretty much why Harald and Loki are acting this way. Nika acts the same way, kind of. Because you even said that Luffy would not have laughed at what's his name, Dr. Vegapunk murking, like getting hurt, like passing, but Nika did, and they're pretty much doing the same thing. Nika, they kind of show what it is Nika is like. I don't say he's the mischief person, whatever, but he laughs a lot with his actions or destruction or whatever it is. If it's good or bad, he's laughing at it. And that's what kind of like showing that if Nika is really heavy in their culture and they understood that personality, they're just imitating the person that they have so much high respect for. Is Nika. They took it to a point where like everything they do is like Nika spawned, like their actions and everything. So that's what I took it as. Like I didn't think of it until you just said it, and I'm thinking of like what they're doing. There's not Luffy. Every time Luffy's in Nika form, he's always doing something and he's laughing right after. He hits Kaido. He's laughing. This happens. He's laughing. It's like, but just it's less cartoony than what Luffy is, or Nika form. I want to keep it short. I just got really excited for this flashback. I think this is the first time we ever get a flashback within a flashback.
Flashback Inception.
We've had flashbacks within flashbacks before.
Yeah, nothing's coming off the top of my head, but I'm just excited because.
Damn, yo.
What?
Remember, a dream within a dream. There's time dilation too, dog.
It's true.
Damn, you didn't even put that in your theory, man.
Listen.
You would have popped off.
Wait, so how long is this flashback going to be?
They said 3 minutes. So
in Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball Z time, that's like 26 episodes. Carry the one.
Because it's funny because like his flashback is supposed to be 3 minutes. They didn't count. Oh, we're also giving you Harold's flashback, so that's additional whatever minutes you're adding.
Well, this is our own time scale.
Exactly,
you know what I'm saying?
That is. But I'm looking forward to it because again, like we know he's a giant. He lives a lot longer, and we already know who we're waiting for, who we're expecting to see. Because I'm thinking again, it's not their flashback, and I don't know if we're gonna get fully the flashback. Hopefully, we do, and you all know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about Rocks. Since we already saw Odin's flashback, because Odin's flashback was his, but who did we see? We saw Whitebeard, we saw Roger, we saw Rayleigh, we saw Gabon, we saw many prominent figures in the One Piece world.
We're gonna see Big Daddy.
Okay, I'm not saying that. That's wow. I hope so, because again, this is him 45, whatever, but to him, he's really young, and this 109 years ago, whatever. Again, how he lived until Rocks is gone, and he's still alive.
It's 38 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, 38 years ago. So, like, his timeline elapses with theirs. Whether he interacts with them, we all assume he has. Mm-hmm. But I also thought it was funny as, again, he's 15 and he's 45 now. During the 14 flashback for Loki's 63 current timeline. Loki, 14 years ago, he's 49. He's only 4 years older than his father right now. And you see him like acting the same way. So it's just like they're showing the connection. Like,
I mean, he's 19, man.
I was like, isn't he 19? Because I think just the Giants' age is different. Mm-hmm. I don't know, but like he's like they're around the same age doing the same stuff. I'm thinking. So I just find it
same age as Luffy, man.
Oh, you know, there's another reason. My bad. That the time dilation thing probably doesn't work. Is because Loki was gone for 8 years. Mm-hmm. It was also 8 years on the sea. Would that mean the same thing?
I don't know. That goes into how Elbaf people age. Because Dory and Bragi have already said that the Giants age differently than regular people. But is that just because they're on the island, or is it because
I think they just have a
lineage?
longer lifespan.
I think it's just their makeup.
Yeah, it's like being an elf. You probably live for like 1,000 years, but you're still like 18, like that entire time. All right, my bad.
I don't have much here, but I think I found out that's small. Doragi and Baragi are older than King Harold. I think you guys kind of knew that already, possibly. And I did see, for instance, I see Loki's face. This is the last thing I'm going to say. I see Loki's face when he's kicking the guy. But when you see it close up, I see Kaido's face more a little bit.
They're like Garp to me.
You think Garp?
I thought the same thing. Everybody said Kaido. Everybody said Kaido. I was like, yo, I see Garp.
Yeah, I see.
I don't know why I see
young
Garp.
Garp.
Here?
Yeah, you
I
see
kind of see
I see Garp.
Yo, giant blood in the Garp family, bro.
Yo,
I don't think they're related at all. I just see Garp.
I kind of see it though.
Let's start the rumors.
Young Garp and
Monkey D. Giants.
Yeah, the monkeys aren't Shandorians no more, yo. They giants, yo.
Gorilla Kong.
They ancient giants.
Who they daddy?
well, the D clan we see, they kind of in almost not every lineage, but they spread out.
The D be everywhere.
That's true. I mean, no, because like Saul, he's a D. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And guess where he showed up?
That's their puppet? No. That's their puppet? No. All right, I'm done now.
Sebastian.
All right. I'll speak briefly on this. Again, they noticed the same hockey that they seemingly noticed in the current timeline.
Told y'all.
That one guard definitely wasn't Dami Reversi. He get bodied. Loki must have went crazy in there. And if the God's Knights are there and they're fighting, like it's probably wild.
Yeah.
Now, Ja Rule's getting hit with the sword that looked crazy.
We know that Loki's not the one.
Yeah, I don't
hurting
think
the
that's,
guard because he doesn't have a sword.
Exactly.
He has a hammer.
Yeah.
So it's most likely Harald just wilding.
Yeah. I will say
He's just like
it's either that or the God's Knights. It could be the God's Knights, I guess.
Oh, God's Knights too. Yeah.
I was wondering who this person is that ran into this. And again, if my theory is correct, the Nika fruit is in here. I don't think it's who's who. You know what I'm saying?
That's.
But it could be a government agent. You know, somebody.
I believe that's when Loki ate it. No.
So that's the thing. I don't think the fruit that's in that box is the same fruit that Harald and Loki have. Harald ate the fruit, died, and then Loki took the fruit from Harald. There's another fruit because I'll say this.
I don't know if that's the way it works.
So check this out. They say that fruit that Harald and Loki seemingly have is passed down through the royal bloodline, right? This fruit is listed as the treasure of Elbaf, the forbidden Dealt fruit. That other fruit that's passed through the royal bloodline is not called the forbidden fruit when they allude to it earlier. Like, they're just not. And again, if Harald has the fruit actively, because whatever, why would it be in the treasure chest? You know what I'm saying?
They never said Harald ate it, though. Did they?
But if
No, they never said that Harald ate it.
But I'm saying if it's passed through the royal bloodline, Harald has been king for 100 and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's been king since way back. Like,
what if it's like you pass through?
Maybe I should eat it too.
yeah, I don't know. To me, I assume Harald has a fruit.
Hold on. So what devil fruit you believe is in the treasure chest?
The Nika fruit.
Okay.
I believe the Nika fruit is in that chest. Because that's everybody's wishing of it, etc.
So what devil fruit did...
I get into my other theory if you want.
I mean, go for
You
it.
got time? All right, I'll get into it. But before that, just some minor stuff here. Lawrence is talking about the changes in Harald's actions. He's a teenager here in Elbaf years or whatever.
His body's changing.
But he's kind of a douche, right? He's making stupid jokes and like, oh, I slipped. Like, he's kind of just being an a-hole, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, he's the king. I didn't think he'd be the king already.
Yeah.
That was what shocked me. I was like, oh, he's the king already. He's not like the king's son. He's not the prince. He's already King Harald.
I'm slanging.
Which is wild. But that gets me to how did Harald have this change in tone, change in vision, change in demeanor? He's looked at as this kind, benevolent kind of guy, right? So, at least in the current, before he died, that's how he's looked at. Right now, he's looked at as basically just what Loki is. So, how do I say this?
Say it the best way you can.
All right. Back on episode 100.
Put your tongue in it.
Back in episode 194, Larry came at me for not having an elaborate theory on Loki's hammer Ragnar potentially being from the Ryjan Island. Well, today, I have more evidence and a more fleshed out theory for this thought process.
Cook.
And as we can see, Loki's wielding the hammer Loki's wielding in this flashback is not the hammer we see him wielding in the current timeline. I believe that not only did Loki get the hammer Ragnar from Ryjan Island, it is my belief that it was placed there by his father for safekeeping until the time was right. In chapter 1152, the royal throne room of Elbaf becomes the site of a massacre. King Harald, the revered wise monarch of Elbaf, is stabbed by over a dozen royal guards, likely because of the blood ritual of Dami Reversi being at play. His son, Prince Loki, arrives mid-attack and in a fury slaughters over 100 guards to reach his father. The only survivor is Chief Jarul, who suffers a sword through the skull, his mind now fractured. When Shanks and Gaban arrive, all they see is Loki, the blood-soaked and harmless, with his father dead before him. Elbaf brands him a murderer, a cursed heir, a traitor. But the truth is far more tragic. He wasn't the murderer, he was the witness. Harald was no ordinary king. He was Elbaf's Odin, Thor's father in Marvel. A warrior, a philosopher, wielding not only physical might, but foresight granted possibly through his Delfruit or communion with the world tree of Elbaf. He was plagued with visions of the future. In chapter 1136, Chief Jarul claims that Harald prophesied his own death at the hands of his son. And if my theory is correct, he likely saw Ragnarok itself. But Harald made a choice. In his final moments, I believe Harald gave Loki 2 things that would shape his future. His Devil Fruit, a powerful mythical Zoan or paramecia ability, perhaps tied to celestial gravity or spiritual wisdom, symbolic of the royal Elbaf family, and a final mission, to recover Ragnir, a hammer Harald once discovered and sealed away on Raijin Island, fearing it might trigger the very fate he foresaw. Harald becomes a self-sacrificing Odin, and Loki is cast into exile, but not without a purpose. Loki fights off the Holy Knights and flees Elbaf and journeys through the New World for several years until he reaches the eternal storm of Raijin Island, a place infamous for constant lightning, ancient ruins, and deadly currents. There, he finds Ragnir, the hammer his father sealed away. But Ragnir is no ordinary weapon. It is a technological and spiritual artifact, possibly tied to Uranus and the Forgotten Void Century storm-like weapon, a conduit of will reacting only to those who survive the storm it's buried beyond, and a mirror to Enel's Arc Maxim, but for a wielder instead of a machine. Upon touching Ragnir, Loki is changed. It becomes his new weapon, replacing the old one we saw in the 1152 flashback. It bonds him like Mjolnir to Thor, and it amplifies his latent observation haki. Just as Enel's lightning fruit amplified his observation haki, allowing him to hear thoughts and voices across Skypiea, Ragnir enhances Loki's foresight. The scattered, vague visions once held by Harald become clearer and terrifying. Elbaf aflame, the world tree collapsing, a giant fire emerging from a shattered sky. The hammer doesn't just summon the storm, it lets Loki see where it lands. In the start of Harald's flashback, as we just talked about, we see him as a young, very immature-ish figure. It's possible that Ragnir was the key to changing him to this wise and kind man that the people of Elbaf beloved. In the Marvel Comics, Thor's father, Odin, is the original owner of Mjolnir. It could be fitting that the hammer is passed down from the father and the son, again in One Piece. If Ragnir is a lens for prophecy, forged from the will of ancient kings, and now it serves Loki alone. With Ragnir in hand, Loki's inner fire will also awaken, revealing the fruit that his father passed down to him. The mythical Zoan model Surtur, the flame giant destined to burn the gods and bring about Ragnarok. Now, if I'm correct, Loki would bear his father's will, the hammer of thunder, and the flame of world-ending judgment. He is no longer a prince, he is a prophecy made flesh. But before he can return, Shanks intercepts Loki, not fully understanding the danger and the prophecy and the scale of power that Loki now holds, and after an epic battle between the 2 children of destiny, Shanks is victorious. Shanks doesn't kill him. Shanks returns to Elbaf a hero. Loki returns an outcast. Shanks seals him away in the underworld of Elbaf. Now, with the fate of Elbaf on the line, Emu and the Holy Knights wreaking havoc, Loki will finally confess to everything to his brother, Harald, in order to be free and fight for his country. Emu's ability causing the betrayal of the royal guards, his father's final words, the mission to reclaim Ragnir, and the prophetic visions now sharpened and impossible to ignore. For Harald, the truth will become clear. Loki is the only chance to survive what's coming, or be the one to end it all. As the final war approaches, the world government seeks Uranus. The Elbaf tree trembles, the will of D rises, the celestial dragons prepare their final purge, and Loki's in the shadows waiting. Now, with Ragnir forged in thunder, Surtur forged in flame, King Harald's will forged in sacrifice, and the clearest vision of the storm that's coming, Ragnar's not just a hammer. It's the last voice of a king's son screaming into the sky that turned its back. In summary, King Harald once used Ragnir and was given the gift of foresight. He saw his own death and the future of Elbaf. Upon his death, he gave Loki the royal devil fruit and told him to find Ragnir, and his son could see the future as he once did. Ragnir is now an ancient relic, possibly key to finding Uranus and controlling it. He was never the murderer, he was a witness. They killed his father and sullied his name, but from the Island of Thunder, he found a voice loud enough to be heard. The question isn't whether Loki is justified. The question is, what happens when the world finally listens to him again? All right, I hope that was also under 10 minutes. Too long?
No, I'll fit it.
Okay, I bet.
You started around like 8:28, and you ended at like 8:34.
You'll be fine. I could put it into 3 minutes.
But yeah, here we go.
I like the quest it gives Loki a reason to just leave Elbaf to get the hammer. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
My
only problem is there's no connection to Harald and the hammer so far. I've been trying to find one, but
you can't.
But I think that's what throws me off a little bit. It's just like there's a lot of spec.
Yeah, that was the most speculative one I had.
Yeah, so it's like you're kind of like telling me a story.
Yeah,
and I have to be like, do I like it or not?
Yeah,
but I think overall, the Surtur fruit, in my opinion, has always been something that Loki ate. I just don't understand how you're saying King Harald gave it to him.
So basically what I'm saying is when whatever happens here, Harald will be in his regular mind at some point and have a conversation with Loki after whatever's gone down and tell him, yo, this is what you need to do. This is what's happened, whatever. Take my fruit, go find Ragnar, it'll give you the foresight.
But how can he take his fruit?
Kill him and take it. I mean,
you can't just do that.
There's got to be a way. It's got to be.
You mean Blackbeard, who waited on this ship in order to exactly do that same action because of a special devil fruit?
But he got the fruit.
The thing is, the only way we that can happen is what happened in.
I mean, there's a darker
what happened in
way
Punk Hazard?
to get here.
What, he just eats Harald?
Yeah, I wasn't gonna go there.
I don't think
That's what I'm saying. I wasn't going there.
I
wasn't going there.
Remember Punk Hazard?
I ate my daddy.
I needed that power. That's oh my god.
I wasn't going.
So what
there.
do you mean? He just like ate a piece of his leg?
We'll figure it out, man.
He drunk his blood, like
yeah.
This could be how we figure out how Blackbeard.
The only way I can see it is what happened in Punk Hazard. Remember when?
What the fruit? Yeah.
Yeah, when Caesar's experiment fruit passed and that fruit came out of nowhere, then he ate it again. Like I don't even understand how that made sense, but like that's the only way he passed.
Are you talking about smile fruits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but smile fruits appear randomly.
But
he put a bunch of fruits in that bag, hoping one of them was gonna work.
Yeah, and it was a 1 out of 10 success rate.
The thing is, if it's a royal bloodline fruit in the way that they're suggesting it is, it could be special in a way that automatically it will go to Loki once Harald's dead. I don't believe that, but if it's being passed from generation to generation within this same bloodline, there's got to be something different about how they're passing the fruit.
Yeah.
It can't just be spawning randomly somewhere on Elbaf and then everybody's like, I guess it's time to hand this fruit in. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's got to be something there. I just don't have what it is.
Yeah, I think that's the only part that throws me off. That's the only part. Because the closest we've ever gotten to somebody being like, oh yeah, I'm going to go get that devil fruit, and then they actually got it, was like Doflamingo. Yeah. It was like, yo, how did you know where Ace's devil fruit was? Yeah. But then it's like, yo, he's also the mastermind of the underworld who has connections to every possible devil fruit that's probably existed. Yeah. And he's like, yo, report that to me. He has better connections than probably Big Mom and the world government with their CPO agents. So I'm like, yo, bet. I believe that. That's believable. It didn't just appear anywhere. Yeah. But like you said, I think that the only way it could have like happened is if Elbaf, as a group of people, believe that the Surtur fruit should also be existing. But it would have to widely be believed in the same way like the Nika fruit is believed in, and we just haven't heard a speck or a word that Surtur is alive and kicking.
Fair.
So it's like, damn. Like, that's the only way I could see it.
I only technically use Surtur because of the connections to Ragnarok and Loki's, like, visions and basically saying, I'm going to bring Ragnarok. Like, that's his whole MO. Yeah. That's why I've got
I believe the Surtur fruit has just always been the royal devil fruit. Yeah. But then it was like a... So the thing is, right, I believe there's probably more than one devil fruit in those treasure chests. Because, you remember, the treasure chests were all emptied.
The other thing about it is, technically, again, if Vegapunk's theory is correct, and it should probably be correct, right? Why we get it if it's not. There would be more than one fruit being spawned on Elbaf consistently. Because there's people that believe in the laughter, people that believe in the destruction, people that believe in the liberator. There would low-key be 3 devil fruits that consistently spawned for this. I don't know if I would like that, but... it could help answer that. I mean, on some level, anyway. I don't know.
Yeah.
But...
no, I just realized the sword that's through Harald's head, I mean, Joral's head, is Harald's sword.
Yeah.
Is it? It's
the
a
same
sword
hilt.
with a similar hilt.
Hilt,
I don't know
yeah.
if it's the same.
I just feel like
sword.
that's all
they'd have
giants.
said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's all giant swords, though. Even though they look like they're using spears, I think that's just like a You're most likely right.
So I want to know, did Harald do it or did like
It's possible.
Probably.
did Loki?
You
take
wildin', bro.
Hey man.
I'm telling you, bro. You wildin'. But this chapter was crazy.
Yo, it was OD, bro. I had more to say, but it's just petty, stupid stuff. Like, in the Mihawk stuff, they're like, oh, like Shanks was a holy knight / regenerate, and I'm like, oh, but Blackbeard scarred him at this time already, but he couldn't regenerate from that. Like, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Remember.
It doesn't track.
Hold
bro.
on. Shanks was also swimming.
Yeah, right. Like, come on, man. Like, what are we doing?
This is what I'm saying,
What
bro.
are we doing, bro?
If anything, the boy was handicapped. Y'all ain't gonna want to believe me.
It's just,
But I'm telling you, bro, it might have been. Listen, man.
bro. But
Boy was swimming. He was in that water.
we got like 20 minutes and a lot of super chats to
Let's do
read,
the
so I'm gonna
super
try to
chats.
do this quickly. All right, we got 20 from Petal 10. Love the pod, guys. Finally making some money now. Happy to donate for a second time. Been watching Ippo, and Sawamura seems like an absolute psychopath. Also, curious what y'all thought about Zoro's cock leakage. But what of his heart? I thought it was interesting that like even Luffy was like, hey, you've been oozing it out. Like, that's kind of crazy. And
I could feel its girth.
okay, yo, enjoy Ippo, bro. Try to read it slow if you can. I know I struggled reading it slow. I burned through that so quickly.
Bro. read
Don't spoil them.
what's this guy's name?
Sendo?
No. The stupid one, the large guy.
Takamura?
Takamura, yes.
Oh, okay.
I forgot his name for a second. Read Takamura's voice and Kuwabara's voice.
No.
Yo,
It's so much better. It's so much better. You're a mission.
They can't.
Oh, man.
And I want to add, I think Zoro's been doing that for a while. He was doing it on Wano, that sumo wrestler that Luffy fought. He ran away from Zoro because he's like, yo, the guy's aura around him was just too intense. So he left. So it was like, I think now since Zoro, awakened his conquers even more, he's just doing it even more. But he's been doing it for a while.
Number 5 from Legend is King. Finally, some proper Zoro glaze from Oda. He's aware of his hockey now, and we're still not close to the Mihawk fight. The leap in power will be amazing.
Right.
Another 7 from Jonathan Keyes. I think Fuji is taken out by Luffy. We got a lot from their first meeting, so I believe Oda may want to give that a proper ending. What do y'all think? I don't know that Fuji will ever seriously fight Luffy again.
I don't like it. I'm sorry.
Personally.
Yeah, I don't like it either. He's either got to be a Mihawk, test Mihawk strength, or have someone else that Zoro takes out. But go from there, not Luffy. Luffy has enough. He's
we low-key don't have enough strong swordsmen in the series like
Yeah,
that.
word.
Like, we need, something for Zoro or Mihawk there.
Yeah.
Another 5 from Smooth Weed. Kaido never awakened because his Devil Fruit is a benevolent, protective deity, so he didn't align his body and never aligned his mind with the... Well, he did align his
They
body.
always want to throw that excuse out, bro.
Kaido's a deity too, protective, like Yamato's.
I don't know, bro. We got another 20 from Wade the Asian. It says, sorry I missed a few weeks there, but episode 209. And y'all, mainly Larry, because we know how he feels about women. Should I let my friend and his girl set me up with their friend? I'm like, that's only single one in the friend group. Is she fine? Are you attracted to her? Are you actually interested in her? Is the question. Or him. I don't know. Sure.
Listen, bro. Have fun.
Yeah. Why not?
Unprotected.
Okay.
All right? Go in there expecting all that could go wrong.
Hey.
And just go for it anyway.
Larry tripping, but I will say there ain't no dog like a raw dog. Another
Listen,
5.
if your dad wasn't there, repeat that cycle.
Terrible.
You don't need to be in that kid's life.
We sorry.
Bro,
sorry.
this is not what we're going to be.
Look at it. Look at LeBron James' dad.
Okay.
Don't know him.
That's not
Most
good. That's
successful
not a
basketball
good-
player ever. You know what I'm
That's
saying?
not. But he ain't eat off that.
Listen, man.
Go adopt a big baby. Aaron Judge. Another 1 month at Yako status from Roki D. Armas. Have Larry read this.
I have a theory. What if Emu doesn't have a physical body? I believe he infused his conquerors plus Domi Reversi for him to live indefinitely through either his lineage or Lily. There's a lot in there, bro.
I wouldn't like it.
I wouldn't like it either.
Are you supposed to fight against that? You destroy the.
You destroy his will.
You
You have to break his will. Another 5 from Legend is King. By the way, I just graduated a few weeks from college.
Hey.
Congrats.
You all served as an escape from the stress of school, and I appreciate all of your content. With the praying emoji, thank you. Hey, man.
Listen,
Congrats.
bro.
Yeah.
Truly.
I hope your master degree gets you that McDonald's job.
Oh, my God. Another
That's
5.
apparently what you need.
Another 5.
Because you can't get any job.
Another 5 from Dopey. Lord Larry, at the end, can you give us a like and subscribe? What do you have better to do? And for the next 1v1 y'all do is Kaido versus Escanor. Hashtag Larry Tags.
Okay. We can do Kaido versus Escanor.
Who's Escanor?
I have no idea.
From 7 Deadly Sins.
And who told you that?
Another 5 from Don Juan. Do you guys think Zoro leaking is King of Hell mode since that's what he uses, Conk just not controlling it? Sure. Yeah, probably.
Probably him.
If he's oozing it, it's probably that. Another 10 from Wade the Asian. Now about the show. Y'all are so fun to watch. I had more people in my friend. Wish I had more people in my friend group that watched. Hashtag law versus all animals. Hashtag Larry equals Derek White. Hashtag Seb the Unk. Hashtag Lionel the part-time. Here today. Go on that date, man.
Yeah, man.
Another 20 from Roki says, continuing my theory, if he possesses Lily, it would explain why he's so obsessed with her and only reacts to her or Joy Boy. If this is his lineage, he is nothing but a ghost holding to power. And only the top 2 hockey can expel him.
Listen, bro.
It's a lot of thought.
He just want to feel what a bad bitch feels like. When he sees him and Sexy Red in the mirror,
All right, bro.
you know what I'm saying?
Come on, man.
He wonders who's badder.
You making deep
You know what I'm
cuts.
saying?
I'm surprised you
now.
haven't said that Emu only transfers the thing into women. His will into.
I think we made that comment.
creep.
Yeah. Hey, man.
Yeah,
Hey,
you a creep,
man.
man.
Freak, man.
He said, I'm having a Diddy party. Ain't nothing like an emu party.
Okay.
Another 5 from Knight of Shambhala. Pleasure, guys. Our ancient ancestors, the Olmecs, who basically look like Shaq, were known as rubber people. Y'all think Oda will correlate the two? He probably already has.
Brother, did you smoke? I have never heard that.
I'll have to look that up, but thank you. Another 5 from Jason Guy. You have to be able to tame and control hockey, and that still doesn't mean they defeat a Holy Knight. You're forgetting they have devil fruits as well.
Okay.
Another 20 from Kodo 1998. What's good, Topped? What's up? Do you guys find it frustrating how little the Straw Hats communicate post time skip? Also, the Monster Trio would be so much stronger if they trained together and passed along techniques like the Z Fighters. What's Zoro giving them, bro?
Goku don't teach nobody nothing. Not once.
What?
I do hate that they don't communicate with each other as much.
The communication,
But
I feel you. What could the Monster Trio realistically teach each other for real?
he could be like, yo, Robbie, using feet? Let me show you how to use your feet.
I guess, bro. I mean,
kick me.
they're not gonna start using swords, so Zoro's out. They don't have rubber devil fruit abilities, so Luffy's out.
Frankie using a sword.
So I'm talking about the Monster Trio.
Go ahead, Zoro.
It's like,
pretty
yo,
sure
kick
he-
harder? Like, what are we doing?
I'm pretty sure you're still referring to hockey, like
Sure.
understanding and like Luffy future sight to somebody else, sign. I don't know, like stuff like that. They're referring.
Yo,
to, I'm pretty
Sanji,
sure.
close your eyes mid-fight versus a dude stronger than you, and you'll get strong. Like, what are you gonna tell him, bro? Another 20 from the FedEx guy. What's up, my Nikas? Been watching y'all for months. I thought I found a way to fly under the radar, but the feds just kicked down my door and demanded my overdue Larry tax. I thought we were over this. Hashtag Celestial Dragons, Larry Fund. Hashtag Law versus 100 horses. Another 2 from Smooth Weed. Gabon extra scolded Zoro for being Luffy's Rayleigh. Maybe. Another 12 months at Nakama status from Misery Avenue. Y'all feel the Nakama I ever had. Y'all feel like the Nakama I never had. Monday's equal peak. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another 5 from Rev
Change
Beast.
your name from Misery to Happiness.
Yeah, bro. Another 5 from Rev Beast. Do you think Kid makes an appearance in Elbaf? If so,
No.
what do you think Oda has planned for him? I
Nothing.
can't see him coming back to the story.
He's dead.
Yo,
Accept it.
I can see him coming back. Somebody said he gonna get Dabi Reversi. That was cracking up. I was cracking up.
And he
Kid
still
pop
be
up,
trash.
and he would just like.
Oh my gosh.
He'd be
be
like
the-
Majin Vegeta.
He'd be the first conqueror to no one.
I'm kidding.
Vegeta let himself be under control.
yo, it's gonna be wild. It'll be so disrespectful. He's gonna come back, get Dami Diversity, then get taken down by Usopp.
All right, bro.
Yeah.
Another 4 months at Nakama status from Sophia. It says Sanji get Lunarian blood instead of Akok, make him unique. Sure. Another 5 from Xavier O'Dilly. Sup, bros? Y'all think Gabon called Loki the way falling down? I think Gabon is Loki's phone a friend. He did say time was short. Hashtag topped. Hashtag Larry text. Nah. He was already on the floor, right? When maybe I'm tripping.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Another 5 from Larry's Conscious. It says Shanks had the mark of the abyss and 2 arms. I was wrong about Mihawk. He truly is the GOAT. We commented on that a little earlier, man. The other 2 from
It doesn't even make sense
It
because
don't.
even if Mihawk was fighting him and he happened to have this never-ending ability, right? We clearly just saw that Conqueror's Haki stops people from doing those techniques. And guess what? Mihawk's still tied with him.
Yeah.
So that would still put
It's
Mihawk
just not.
under
Yeah,
Shanks.
it's not the. It's not. It's
Like,
not the.
it doesn't make sense.
It's not the upscale you think it is.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It's making Mihawk worse. That's what nobody understands, bro.
Yeah, bro. Cause why Blackbeard permanently scarred him? You couldn't, bro. I'm gonna stop. bringing
No,
Blackbeard
but
up.
yo, Blackbeard was like
Yeah, bro.
super strong,
Nah,
and then
bro.
he got one shot by Magellan and shit. Like, shut up, bro. Y'all don't understand how this works.
Another 2 from Nate D. Do you think Kaido was introduced too soon? No, I think he's pretty.
Kaido?
Yeah, I think.
A little bit.
Yo, a little bit. Yo,
So, I don't think so.
yo,
I
yo.
don't think so.
All right. Yeah. Listen,
what?
man. Yeah, yo, you better watch Kaido again, bro.
I don't think so. Another 10 months at Nakama Stats from Kirby. Where's my hockey at? Face as Nika Black Lung Fraud.
Okay,
Terrible.
take his keyboard away.
Another 2 from Nate D. Would you rather join Dofi or Crocodile? Dofi was having way more fun than Crocodile was, bro. Another 2 from Hongi Thongi. Larry, stop hating on Zaddy Rayleigh. Laughing emoji. Hashtag Larry tags.
My bad, Hongi.
Wow.
We got another 2 from Jada Rude. It says Seb's hat is fire. Hey, yo, I got it from Fanatics Fest. It is a Spike Lee hat. We was Kangs, man. We was Kangs. Another 2 from Smooth Weeb. It says Luffy really chose a story over saving his Nakama. I crashed out about it earlier, bro. I'm over it now. Another 5 from Alex Perez. What if Blackbeard's Darkness Awakening is just taking all the color from the show and we fade to all black?
Like a black
What?
and white.
How would that work?
Like breaking the fourth wall?
I guess.
It would be the same as The Sopranos. Yeah,
Ah.
it's just as worse.
I didn't hate the Sopranos ending. Another 2 from Project Iceman. If Loki joins Sanji is number 5. Gotta love it. He's strong. He's definitely stronger than Sanji.
Hey,
I'll tell you right
Cinco.
now. Yeah. Another 5 from Alex Perez. Can Poseidon lift and create the Devil Fruit drowning curse? Yeah, I believe so.
Can Poseidon
Nah,
live
nah,
and
maybe
create
not,
the
maybe
devil
not.
fruit drowning curse?
Maybe not.
No.
That might be too much.
No.
That might be too much.
The reason why they sink is because the sea is supposed to be the natural occurrence of the world. Devil fruits are not natural.
But Poseidon, the ancient weapon, dog.
That would be crazy.
That would be
great. That would be.
That
like
would be crazy.
I wouldn't doubt. Like
too
would
powerful.
break the.
Yeah, it's too powerful.
understanding
That'll break
of
the canon?
Yeah.
Another 5 from Ye. It says, random idea. Are the cover stories showing time move faster outside of Elbaf? They're all over Wano, but it seems like a day hasn't passed in Elbaf. Hashtag top. I could get into that, but I feel like Oda plays fast and loose with the cover stories anytime he feels like it. I don't know that there's a consistent, this is how much time has lapsed.
Bro, I don't
with
care
that.
about the cover stories.
Another 5 from Jada Rude. I think that Blackbeard Pirates have a really good chance of having at least 3 conquerors on it based on the strong personalities.
Who?
Yeah.
Who?
Who?
Who? The closest you're gonna get is Aokiji. Everybody else is a dub.
3 conquerors?
Everybody else is a dub.
I'm gonna try Blackbeard. Sure.
Okay.
It's not Blackbeard.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not
Blackbeard.
confident Blackbeard has it, but if 3 of them are gonna have it,
It still would be no.
Blackbeard?
I'd choose somebody else above him. I'd choose
crazy.
Shiryu above him.
that's crazy.
I'm serious.
Yeah, true. Another 5.
Yo, I'm dead. I'm serious, bro.
Another 5 from Max Power 17. The Larry tax has poisoned my water supply, burned my crops, and brought a plague on my house. Hashtag yeehaw. Hashtag ow. Hashtag milk drinker law. Also 6 powers or fishman karate. Ooh. Mine, I'll let you power. 6 powers.
Yeah.
I'm going Fishman Karate.
Do I swim better?
You could do
I
Geppo
mean-
in water, bro, and just be faster than a fisherman. In cereal.
See, that's
Not
that
if I punch you
racism
first.
leaking out of y'all.
Nah.
If I get Jinbei's whole kit, I'll go with Fishman Karate. If it's just basic Fishman Karate, I'll go with the 6
Because you're
powers.
going to go the strongest one is Rob Lucci, right? And then it's like Jinbei, the strongest Fishman Karate.
Yeah.
And who you got? I got Jinbei.
That's debatable. Another
it is debatable.
2 from Off Brand. It says, I love it if Hadruden and Loki are co-captain.
That'd be cool.
That'd be cool.
ruler.
Another 8 months of Nakama status from Figureland Shampoo. Loki can fit in the ship if his Devil Fruit has that power. What power? To change his size? Damn, I got a lot of super chats. I gotta hurry up. All right, another 2 from JT. It says, what up, TOPT? If Luffy died at Marineford, is Dragon sliding?
No.
No. Another 2 from Lucky Room. What would even be the point?
Yeah.
Another 2 from Lucky Room. Prime Gaban is greater than Kaido. See, we wildin'. We wildin' too much. We doing too much.
Yeah.
Another 2 from
You can fight, though.
Panda Pansy. My boys love y'all. Keep it up. The Chosen Kings. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another 18 from Goatman Tees. I didn't get Yamato. Loki better join than Yamato. Yo, chill out. Like, Kaido, your boy. That's your mans.
Yeah, on that Gaban hype, man.
Yes, yes.
You're tripping, bro. It's Kaido. It's Kaido over Gaban, bro. You're wildin'. Stop it. Another 5 from Past to Sea. What would win out, Divine Departure or Galaxy Impact?
From
From who?
yeah. Who giving the divine departure? You going Shanks?
Oh, man. I'll go Divine Departure, yo.
Or go Galaxy Impact if Shanks is throwing it. The Galaxy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Another 2 from Sean Fox. Biblo is the key to Loki fitting on the Sunny. Was he going to be on the Sunny at all times?
Yeah, I thought about that. But yeah, once he leaves that radius, it shrinks back.
Yeah. Another 2 from Off Brand. Larry and Sanji got the power of love. That is Conquerors.
Don't disrespect me.
Another 10 from PKJ. Luffy's Conquerors was leaking in Dressrosa, but couldn't hurt Kaido, so I think Rio helped Luffy adapt to infusing it. I also think Sanji is blocking his own Conqueror from what Zeph said previously. Maybe. We don't have a lot of time to discuss, so sorry, guys. Another 5 from Legend is King. Garp didn't notice Luffy was a Conqueror's Haki user until he saw him wield it, even though he saw him prior. Zoro didn't unlock it until Wano. Why would Mihawk know? Exposed. Another 2 from Dagger
Just
Sheen.
tell him. Just be like, yo, it exists. If you have it, you can master it.
Yeah. Another 2 from Dagger Shane. Seb, did you ever check out Marshall King? I did not. Sorry about that. Another 24 from Zuena. Hey guys, I hope you all are well. I'm on vacation, so I'm able to watch the stream live for the first time. Do you think Shanks is secretly mad toxic for not being the chosen one? With a laughing emoji. He was like, damn, he really ate my fruit. I don't think he's salty over
Nah,
it.
he wasn't salty about
He
it.
could have been ate it. He was holding on to it.
Yeah, exactly.
Another 5 from COD Casualty. The time distortion makes more sense when Emu showed up and expressed frustration asking the Holy Knights what was taking them so long at Elbaf. Yeah, I spoke to that. Another 2 from Corey Carazo. Glad to see my boys all together. Hashtag Best Book Club. Thank you. Another 8 from Jalen. Seb, it told you Luffy would ask Loki to join the crew to make the Giants free him. Love the pod. Truly look forward to it all week. Hashtag Larry Tax.
See, they
Hashtag
told
Tops.
you.
Yeah, and I told y'all that Haru would say no. I tried to tell y'all that. Another 8 from Sticky Selfie. Hope we doing well, boys. If you're looking for a new anime to watch, I definitely recommend Shangri-La Frontier. Hashtag Book Lives Matter. Hashtag Larry Tax. I'll check it out. Another 2 from Larry's Conscious. I love Mihawk. I just be lying. Number 10 from Ben Blick That Bit. I was slaving today at work under the blazing sun, and just when I was about to give up, I remembered what the great celestial Larry once said. What better they got to do? Hashtag Larry Text, hashtag CD Larry, hashtag inspiration. Number 2.
Would you rather be broke? That's all I'm saying, bro.
Number 2 from Ben. It says, new DDT idea, Marv versus Steve. I got Marv. Who's Steve?
Steve. Yeah.
Oh, that's Steve.
Yeah. How does he know?
I don't
Steve?
know how you know Steve,
Yeah.
bro. Who this? Who's Ben? All right. They spying on you, Marv.
Marv is like, all right.
Yeah.
Maybe it's time
Marv
to
about
quit.
to cancel the
Yeah,
fire.
bro. This is getting too personal.
Another 5 from Jay Darude. Is there any world where that was actually Shanks that went to see the Gorosei and Oda is trying to trick us?
No.
And that's just the garling
It's
symbol.
Shamrock.
Yeah, it's crazy. Shamrock.
There's a world. You know me, I'm the 1% theory, man. Another 2 from Jay Darude. I think Whitebeard made Shanks go back as a spy. Whitebeard?
Wow.
No. Another 1 month as Nakama Stats from Jalen. Blackbeard scarred immortal Shanks pre Yami Yami Blackbeard top 1. This is how y'all sound, me,
Oh
fans.
my gosh.
Another 5 from Nimbus Jujubee. I feel like Loki will join the crew. Most of the Straw Hats members did not accept the invitation to join the crew right away. That's pretty true. Another 10 from Stark the Dragon. I think Harald was fighting the Diamond Reversi because of his Conqueror's Haki, which is why he resisted, and maybe Loki got caught into as well, which is why he also killed everybody. Hashtag love the content. Loki being Diamond Reversi is interesting. Another 2 from Jay Darude. Lionel said, nah, I gotta be here for this one. Facts. Another 2 from Jaden. Very personal question, but any one of you, JW, if you know, you know. It's up to y'all to answer.
Awareness with the 5.
Yeah. No, where's with 5? You think Sabo or Dragon taking a fight away from Luffy? For example, Akainu, Emu, etc. I could see Sabo versus Akainu and maybe Dragon versus Figureland. Maybe. Another 5 from No Poppy. I believe Rox became a false awakened Zoan on God Valley by Harold's family treasure that he stole. And Harold sacrificed himself to Loki to awaken his. That'd be interesting. Another 5 from C7, 7C. Do you guys believe Loki actually ate the devil fruit? It's been chapters and we don't know what the power is, and Loki's been shown so much.
He's ate a devil fruit, but he's been chained up.
He's been chained with, I assume, Sea Stone.
The hammer's not in his hand either, so he's still chained up asking. So
Yeah. Another 10 from Landry. It says, for Seb's last theory, he brings up Ragnarok. In some tellings, Ragnarok starts when Odin fights Fenrir. This would make Fenrir or Loki killing Odin or Harald. Possibly. And then another 5 from Ace. What's good, Nikas? Larry coping with the Mihawk take. LMAO. If anything, Blackbeard looks better with the Holy Knight tattoo. Hashtag you see Law fighting a horse. Help the horse. Thank you guys so much. Sorry for the delay in Super Chats.
yeah, thank you guys for all of the Super Chats. We're so sorry that we, obviously read them very late. Max Power with the 2 says, if only one of you had Conqueror's Haki, who is it? Law? I'll go Law. Just to satisfy him. Pause.
Me.
That was crazy. But yeah, if you haven't liked the video already, please like the video. Everybody that's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, thank you so much for joining. Leave us 5 stars and a nice comment. Also, we will be here next week. There's another chapter coming out. So Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. Hit the notifications bell on our page so you know when we go live. And also thank you to Marv for letting us stay 3 minutes over. Yeah. Sorry about that, Marv. We had a lot. But it was a great filled chapter, and we had Lionel here, so I'm glad to have Lionel here too, bro. So thank you to everybody. Thank you. My name is Larry.
Lawrence.
Lionel. Seb. What was that?
My name is Larry.
Lawrence.
Lionel. Seb. Get your TOPT merch, y'all.
My name is Larry.
Lawrence.
Lionel.
That Top Podcast.
Jada.